Good morning, everyone. Am I audible and visible? Good morning. Zeba, good morning. Am I audible and visible? Stephen, Sejal, good morning. Okay. Kashinath, good morning. Let some more people join in and then I'll begin. Right. Good morning, everyone. Rahula Bhadra or Rahula Bhadda was the founder of the Sarvastivada sect in Kashmir. Zeba, in the fourth council, during the fourth council of another sect called Sarvastivada was founded by Rahula Bhadda. Okay. So good morning, everybody. Dipankar, Nazma, Roshan, Divyani. So yesterday I finished with Buddhism and I began with Jainism. So let me quickly recap till wherever we have done as regards Jainism. So we have seen that both Buddhism and Jainism were born almost at the same time in the 6th century BC. Both Buddha and Mahavira were contemporaries, but they never met each other. Jainism is slightly older than Buddhism. Um, you know, it was Jainism, it was the first to condemn the corruptions against the Vedic religion. Jainism was the first to condemn the corruptions in the Vedic religion. But that condemnation, that opposition to the corruptions was not very emphatic. It was not very aggressive enough as much as Buddhism was. And therefore, Jainism did not become very popular compared to Buddhism initially in the initial stages. Now, Jains believe that there are 24 Tirthankaras. Um, so the last was Vardhamana Mahavira, who is considered to be the real founder. Rishabha was the first, Parshvanath was the 23rd, and Vardhaman was the 24th. Now, yesterday we have discussed who is a Tirthankara. A Tirthankara is somebody who will help a person to cross this river of life from birth till death. He will help that person, he'll guide that person to easily cross over this life. And he is called a Tirthankara. Before a person reaches the status of a Tirthankara, he has to pass through a few preliminary stages like a sadhu, a strict monk, upadhyaya, teacher state, acharya, and of course arahat. So the 14th stage is Tirthankar stage, 14th stage. So arahat is somebody who is in the 13th stage, and just before his death, he reaches the 14th stage, the Tirthankar. He becomes a Tirthankar, the arahat, right? Now, there are 24 Tirthankaras. We have seen this from 1st to the 24th. But historians don't believe the existence of the first 22 Tirthankars. They believe, or they feel they were mythological characters. They believe they were mythological characters, the first 22 Tirthankaras. The 23rd was Parshvanath, who lived about 250 years before Mahavira. So we definitely know about Parshvanath and Vardhaman, Mahavir. Parshvanath, it is said he lived 250 years before Mahavir. He was a prince of Kashi. His parents are known, King Ashwashena of Banaras and Vamala Devi, his mother. And he founded a sect called the Nirgrantha sect. Vardhaman Mahavira's parents were the followers of the Nirgrantha sect. And later the Nirgrantha sect of Parshvanath merged into Jainism. How it happened, we'll talk about it in some time. So the Nirgrantha sect merged into Jainism. Now, Parshvanath gave the first four principles of his sect, which also are the four principles of Jainism, the first four principles of Jainism also. So what are the four principles he gave? One is not to speak lie, that is Satya. Ahimsa, not to commit violence. It includes also mental violence, not just physical violence. Asteya, not to receive anything which is not freely given. Uh, not to receive anything which is not freely given. And of course, aparigraha. Aparigraha is non-possession of property. You cannot call anything as your property. Now, then we came to Vardhaman Mahavir. I stopped here, I suppose. Let me continue. Let me start with afresh with Vardhaman Mahavir. We stopped in between. So Vardhaman Mahavir is considered to be the real founder of Jainism. He was the 24th, the last Tirthankar. So he was born at Kundagrama in eastern India, somewhere in Bihar. And his parents, we know, Siddhartha. His father was Siddhartha, the head of the Naya or Gnatrika clan. So he was the head of the Naya or Gnatrika clan. And therefore, Vardhaman is called Nigantha Nataputta or Gnataputra. So we have seen this, Gnataputra or Nigantha Nataputta. Now, when he was still in his mother's womb, it is said that he had taken a vow that he will take up sannyas only after the death of his parents. So he was born at Kundagrama. He was later married to a girl called Yashoda. So she became his wife. And they had a daughter by name Priyadarshana or Annoja, also called Annoja. Then he had a son-in-law. In short, still they have written son-in-law, by name Jamali, who became the first disciple of Mahavira. So he had a happy family, a wife, children, etc., a child, etc., and a son-in-law also. But then we are told that at the age of 30 years, after the death of his parents, he decided to renounce the world. That is, he decided to take up sannyas. His parents had died. This is according to the Shvetambara tradition. Shvetambara tradition says that Vardhaman decided to take up sannyas after the death of his parents, whereas Digambara tradition says that his parents were very much alive when he decided to take up sannyas. However, he's supposed to ask permission from his elder brother, Nandivardhana. His elder brother was Nandivardhana, who was now the head of the family. He was now the head of the family, Nandivardhana, his elder brother. So he asked permission from his elder brother, Nandivardhana, to give him permission to take up sannyas. And Nandivardhana granted him permission. So Vardhaman left home at the age of 30 years. And he roamed around. He wandered around for 12 years. So he left home at the age of 30. He wandered for 12 years, totally up to the age of 42. And out of these 12 years, the first 6 years of his wandering was with one person called Goshala Maskariputra. Goshala Maskariputra or Makkali Goshala. So he was a disciple of Vardhaman, and this Makkali Goshala also joined Vardhaman in his wandering. After 6 years of togetherness, they were together for 6 years, they had differences over two issues. One was the rejuvenation of the soul. So they fought over these two issues. One was whether the soul rejuvenates itself. Rejuvenation of the soul. The second was about nudism, whether to wear clothes or not. Vardhaman was against wearing clothes, whereas Goshala Maskariputra was for wearing clothes. So they had differences over these two issues, and they parted ways. Vardhaman went another direction, Goshala went another direction. And later this Goshala Maskariputra became the founder of a sect which came to be called the Ajivika sect. He became a founder of the Ajivika sect. If you remember, Bindusara, the son of Chandragupta Maurya, father of Ashoka, was a patron of the Ajivika sect. He patronized the Ajivika sect. Ashoka donated 4 caves in the Barabara hills to the Ajivika monks. He got 4 caves dug up and donated them to the Ajivika monks. And his grandson Dasharatha, Ashoka's grandson Dasharatha, also donated 3 caves in the Nagarjuni hills, in the nearby Nagarjuni hills. Remember all those things, right? So this is Goshala Maskariputra. He was the founder of the Ajivika sect, and he is considered to be the earliest teacher of Niyati. So when we do philosophy topic, We will talk about it in detail, much more detail, about Goshala Maskariputra. He is called the earliest teacher of Niyati. Niyati means predetermination, predeterminism, predeterminism. What is predeterminism? Everything is already decided for you, even before you're born. At the time of your birth, everything has been decided for you. So therefore, you cannot change destiny. Do whatever you want. For example, we play out this destiny even nowadays. If you go to an astrologer with your horoscope, among Hindus, you have a horoscope. So the time of birth, place of birth, name of the person. If you give those details, that person will make the calculation. The astrologer, the kundali, he makes the kundali. So he will tell you, depending upon the position of the stars at the time of your birth, your future is predicted. And that person will tell you that instead of studying for UPSC, you should have become a doctor. So according to him, according to the astrological chart, you should have been a doctor, you should have pursued medicine, etc., etc. That is predeterminism, according to astrologers. So this is even now there. So he was the one who spoke about predeterminism. Roshan, jokes apart, will focus here. They told me I'll be a Mukesh Ambani. Maybe, who knows? Yeah. But I will ask you, Guru Dakshina, if you become Mukesh Ambani. Okay, we'll come back here. Jokes apart. So here, Niyati, predeterminism. He was the earliest teacher of predeterminism, and this Goshala Maskariputra. Right? So then, so here at the age of 42 years, what happened is he comes to a place called Jrimbika Grama, somewhere in eastern India. He comes to a place called Jrimbika Grama, and there was a river flowing. Okay, Rijupalita. Remember these rivers? Siddhartha also took a bath in a river, that is Niranjana River, modern Falgu River. Here, this is a river called Rijupalita. So he takes a bath in this river called Rijupalita. Then he comes out of that river, and there was a field. The field was belonging to a householder. He was a family man. His name was Samaga. So as soon as he came out of that river after taking a bath, there was a field, and this field belonged to a householder or family man called Samaga. And in that field, there was a sal tree growing. So Vardhaman decided to sit under that sal tree for meditation. Okay, and within no time, he received Kaivalya, enlightenment. What Buddha received, what is called Nirvana by the Buddhists, is called Kaivalya by the Jains. So he received this enlightenment called Kaivalya. He attained Kaivalya Gnana. And he is supposed to have declared himself Jina, conqueror. Jina means conqueror. So he called himself Jina. He declared himself to be Jina. Jina means conqueror. Conqueror of what? Conqueror of ultimate knowledge. Conqueror of ultimate knowledge. And Mahavira, he called himself Mahavira, great hero. And the word Jainism is from this word called Jina. So the word Jainism is from the word called Jina. So Jina means conqueror of ultimate knowledge. So later his students, his teachers, his students also began to call himself as Kevali. Kevali is one who had attained the Kaivalya Gnana. And Mahavira, the great hero. So he left home at the age of 30 years. He wandered for 12 years, that is till the age of 42 years. He received his Kaivalya at the age of 42 years, that is enlightenment. He totally lived for 72 years. That means for the next 30 years, he went from place to place and gave his teachings. So for the next 30 years, after he attained Kaivalya, he went from place to place and he gave his teachings. And at the age of 72 years, when he was about 72 years, he comes to Pavapuri. This was the capital of the Mallas. Mallas were a republic. The Mallas were a republic. They were a republic, Mallas. So Malla Republic. And the king of the Mallas was a man called Shashtipala, King Shashtipala. So in the palace of King Shashtipala, Vardhaman decides to commit Sallekhana. He committed what is known as Sallekhana. What is Sallekhana? Voluntarily giving up food until one dies. Voluntarily giving up food until one dies. Okay, until one dies. That is called Sallekhana, right? Uh, so here, Sallekhana is now even now is practiced by Jain monks and nuns, bhikshus and bhikshunis, and the Jain religion gives a lot of importance. Jains give a lot of importance to people who die like this. Now, it is also called Santhara. Salekhana is also called Santhara. Another word for Salekhana is Santhara. Now, many years back, about 3 decades back, SSLC girl, a 10th standard girl, coming from a business family from Hyderabad, she told her parents that she wants to follow Salekhana. She wants to commit Salekhana. The parents of this girl decided to dissuade her. They tried to dissuade her initially, but this girl was pretty adamant, stating that she wants to commit Salekhana. She's feeling like it. So the family encouraged her because she was pretty persistent. And the girl died. The girl died by committing Salekhana. The neighbors of this girl, the neighboring girl was a friend of this girl. So the parents, and they had seen her grow up. So they lodged a complaint with the police, stating that it was abetment to suicide. It is abetment to suicide. The family has supported the girl in committing suicide. So the matter went to the High Court of Andhra Pradesh and later to the Supreme Court also. And ultimately, the Honorable Supreme Court, after due deliberations, came to the conclusion that they gave a ruling that it is not suicide because this particular practice is not, it doesn't involve force. The person is committing or following Salekana on his own volition. Therefore, there was no question of any abetment to suicide, and the Jains had been practicing this from thousands of years, and therefore, you cannot call it as suicide. So that is what the ruling of the Supreme Court is. Even now, the Jain community gives a lot of respect and honor to people who die like this by committing Sallekhana. Right? So at the age of 72 years, he committed Sallekhana and died in the palace of the king of the Mallas, Shashtipala. Are you there with me? No, it is not. I have explained this, Shreyas. It is not suicide. It is not considered to be suicide because they have been nobody is forcing them. There is no reason for them to. Suicide is what happens suddenly. You commit suicide. Um, Whereas here, you gradually the intake of food is reduced. So let us say that person is eating quite a lot of food. Slowly, the content is reduced, right? So let us say from 6 chapatis, he reduces to 2 chapatis or 3 chapatis a day. 2, 3 becomes one. Then he starts having semi-liquid, semi-solid, right? Then he stops eating that also, and then he starts drinking only liquid, water, juice, etc. And then even that is given up. So slowly, the body and the mind is trained to accept less and less food from solid, semi-solid or semi-liquid, and then finally semi-solid, and then of course liquid, and then no food at all. So slowly, the body is trained and the mind is trained to accept less and less food. So this is Vardhaman Mahavir for you. So you can see his disciples called him Kevali, one who attained Kaivalya Gnana, and Jina or conqueror. And his passing away is called Veera Nirvana era. Veera Nirvana era. So let us look. This is the place where his last rites were performed, Pavapuri in Bihar. So the mortal remains of Vardhaman Mahavir were confined to flames here, and people there was a sea of humanity, I believe, when the dead body was burned and it was converted into ashes. There was a sea of humanity who came there, congregated there, and they began to pick up the ashes of Vardhaman, and so much so that along with ashes they began to also collect mud from that place. So there was a huge crater, a huge pit or a crater created there. Later, Jains have built 2 temples there. So this picture you can see is a place which is considered to be holy by the Jains, the Pavapuri Jain Temple, Bihar. So let us look at other aspects of Jainism. what are the teachings of Mahavira? What are his beliefs? So Vardhaman did not believe in God. So Jainism. So there's a difference between the thinking of Vardhaman, and of course Jainism has a religion. Vardhaman did not believe in God, whereas Jainism has a religion, believes in the existence of God, because Jainism is the combined teachings of all the 24 Tirthankaras, right? So Vardhaman did not believe in God, and he says that the universe is composed of matter. There is no God who has created this universe. It is composed of matter, universe, and it keeps on changing its form, right? And then a man can get rid of his miseries. So the ultimate aim of a man is to attain moksha, what is called kaivalya. And how do you get kaivalya? You punish your body by meditating day and night, by giving up food, water, and sleep. So Jainism gives extreme emphasis on self-mortification, austerities. Punish. What is austerities? Committing austerity is, um, you voluntarily giving up food, water, sleep, meditating day and night, punishing your body. So that way it will burn away all the bad karmas, and you can attain. You're moving towards attaining kaivalya, right? It was against the Vedas and sacrificial rituals also. And of course, it gives great emphasis. He gave great emphasis on the concept of ahimsa. So he was against Vedas, Vedic rituals, sacrifices, and ahimsa is given a lot of importance by Jainism. You see, concept of ahimsa, non-violence, existed even before Jainism. It was not that it was the first time propounded by the Jains. It existed even before Jainism. Vardhaman Mahavira gave extreme emphasis on the concept of ahimsa, so much so that Jains consider even life to be existing in material things. That is, um, you know, uh, um, so not just life in a human being or an animal or a bird. Even in non-material things. Like for example, I have a watch. Let's say, so this is a watch, right? So this is a watch. They believe that there is life in the watch. Of course, we have a battery which is making it run, but then not in that sense. That if you hit the watch, it causes pain to the watch and it suffers. So they believe in life in even inanimate things. Life also in inanimate things. So there's a table. If you beat the table, it causes pain to the table, right? So and it suffers. Therefore, don't commit violence even on the table. So inanimate things also have life, not just animate things. Are you there with me? Then let us look at the doctrines of Jainism. So far, so clear. All of you clear? All of you are there with me? Everything is okay from your end? Audible, visible, no problem. Can you raise your hands so that I can move on? Okay, thank you. So let us look at the doctrines of Jainism. So it is contained in the Pancha Sutras. It is contained in the five cardinal principles. Priya, so inanimate things also have life and they suffer pain if you cause injury to them. Right? Now, Pancha Sutras. Pancha Sutras, five cardinal principles of Jainism. You see later Nirganta, the followers of the Nirganta sect merged into Jainism. So the first four principles were given by Parshvanath. You can see here Satya, Ahimsa, Asteya, Aparigraha, given by Parshvanath. Satya is do not speak lie. Ahimsa, non-violence, including not committing mental violence. Asteya is not to receive anything which is not freely given. Literally, it is used in the sense of non-stealing. Aparigraha is non-possession. First four principles were given by Parshvanath. A fifth one was added by Mahavir. Brahmacharya, celibacy. Brahmacharya is celibacy. That is, you stay single, don't get married. Okay. Um, so stay single, don't mingle. No, don't write that way. I'm just telling you on the lighter side. So stay single, don't get married. So that is Brahmacharya. So this was added by Mahavira. Are you there with me? Right? So remain single, don't get married. So follow Brahmacharya. Now, if these five rules are strictly followed by Jain monks and nuns, so just as the Buddha established the Sangha, a voluntary association of monks and nuns, Mahavir also established the Sangha, a voluntary association of monks and nuns. Now, when monks and nuns of the Jain Sangha strictly follow these 5 principles, they are called Mahavratas. On your screen, Mahavratas. What is Mahavratas? Astya Stephen, not to receive anything which is not freely given. So, if a person is giving something on his own free will, then you receive it. Don't ask and take it. Don't ask and take. Only if somebody is giving you voluntarily something, then you receive it. That is the meaning of Asteya. Okay, so Mahavratas. What are Mahavratas? When these 5 principles are followed strictly by monks, 5 principles followed strictly, vigorously by monks and nuns. By monks and nuns. That's called Mahavrata. And what is Anuvrata? Anuvrata is lay followers of Jainism. That is, they are not members of the Sangha. Let's say I'm a follower of Jainism. I'm not part of the Sangha. I'm not a monk. Therefore, I have not taken any religious vows to join the Sangha. So when it is followed in a less rigorous manner, if these 5 Panchasutras, when they are followed in a less strict manner by common people, by common Jains, it is called Anuvrata. Okay? So lay followers, lay followers, when follow Panchasutras in a less rigorous manner, or a less strict manner, that's called Anuvrata, right? Then we look at other aspects. We have the 3 Ratnas of Jainism. What are the 3 Ratnas? 3 jewels: right faith, right knowledge, and right action. Right faith, that is belief in the Jain Tirthankaras and their teachings. That is called right faith, Samyak Vishwas. Right knowledge, knowledge of eventual liberation. That is, everybody will be liberated. They will attain Kaivalya. And that there is life in all existing things. So life is there in all things, okay, all existing things, and ultimately you will be liberated from worldly bondage. And right action. So right faith, right knowledge, right action. These are called 3 Ratnas or Ratna Traya of Jainism. Now, Jainism gives extreme emphasis on the concept of ahimsa in speech, deed, or action. And as I told you, Jains believe that there is life in all inanimate objects also. Has inanimate has a piece of table, a piece of wood, etc. Now, in Jainism, understand this. Jainism recommends 6 professions. Jainism recommends 6 professions. Understand this. What are the 6 professions recommended by Jainism? Agriculture. We'll discuss this. Understand this. Agriculture. Then governing, trade. Then arts, crafts, writing. These are the 6 professions recommended by Jainism. Now look here, understand this. What Jainism tells us, wherever there's a possibility of committing violence, wherever there is a possibility of committing violence or himsa, avoid that profession. Avoid that profession. Now, if you look at the list given by in Jainism, which is the profession where you have a chance of committing more violence, even inadvertently, not deliberately, it can happen by accident. For example, agriculture. So you are doing agriculture. Let's say I'm a farmer. I have to walk on the land, right? And on the land, you have ants, you have earthworms, etc. I might trample upon them, and that way commit himsa, violence. Therefore, avoid agriculture. It is not banning agriculture. It is saying avoid all these professions where there is a possibility of you committing violence. So agriculture to be avoided. Then governing to be avoided. You are a police official, right? You are a police official. And as a police officer or a policeman, you have to punish a person who has committed crime. So you have to beat him, you have to maybe use third degree torture, etc. That is himsa again. Therefore, avoid. Right. Now, what are the professions where there is least possibility of committing violence? These four: trade, arts, crafts, and writing. Now understand this. Writing, arts, and crafts. Unless you have the skill with you, you may be born with that skill. It may be you may be a gifted writer, or you're a painter, you're a gifted painter like Raja Ravi Verma was, or you're a craftsman, you're a lovely, you're a great carpenter, you're a very good weaver. So this is a innate talent which you have, which are born with. So unless you have that skill, you will not be able to pursue arts, crafts, and writing. Okay, so, but then this also involves least possibility of violence. But then what about trade? Trade, anybody can do business. You first time you might fail, second time you might fail, third or fourth time you will definitely succeed. That's why we see most of the Jains doing trade. Most of the Jains are doing trade. We are doing business. Uh, it also recommends arts, crafts, writing. You have that skill with you of writing or pursuing arts and crafts. You very well follow that. These are the 6 professions recommended by Jains, by Jainism. Did you get me that? Voice is not clear. Ragini says there is some issue to joining class. What about others? They're from Marwar in Rajasthan. So I suppose all Marwaris are not Jains. All Marwaris are not Jains. Others are saying it's perfectly clear, Ragini. Maybe there is some problem from your end. Please check up. Switch off any electronic gadget you might be having near to you. Switch it off. That may be obstructing the, the wireless, the transmission rather. Shreya says refresh audio. What are you teaching? It's not appearing me. Others are not having a problem, Ragini. Nasma is saying ask them to refresh. Yeah, Shreyas also said the same thing. Refresh. Try to refresh, Ragini. Refresh or restart your computer. Others are not having a problem. So I'll continue. So there are 6 professions. Did you understand here? All of you 6 professions: agriculture, governing. Relogin. Deepesh says relogin. It happened to me initially too. Yeah, Ragini, relogin. That's what Deepesh is saying. Okay, we'll come back here. So 6 professions: agriculture, governing, trade, arts, crafts, and writing. So Jainism gives a lot of importance to the concept of ahimsa. So if you look at Jain monks and nuns, you see, you must have noticed them. We have Jains. They put a mukapatti. Mukapatti is, they cover their nose and mouth with a patti, with a piece of cloth. So even before COVID, we were all covering our nose and mouth. But from thousands of years, Jains have been practicing this because Jains believe that there is life everywhere. You have nigodas. They are, you have something called nigodas. Nigodas. So these are tiny organisms, tiny microorganisms existing everywhere. Tiny microorganisms which exist everywhere. Therefore, Jain monks and nuns are not allowed to consume honey, fig. They cannot consume honey, fig, alcohol. Jains are not allowed to consume honey, fig, alcohol, because nigodas are present in honey, fig, alcohol. Jains believe that there is life in various elements. Like for example, you have earth bodies. Okay, then there is that is earthworms, etc. So there are earth bodies, there are fire bodies, there are air bodies, right? So earth bodies, like for example, Jain monks and nuns cannot walk on the grass. They're not allowed to walk on the grass. Or you must have seen a Jain monk. He has a broom with him and a water pot, water jug with him. So when he's walking, Jain monks, particularly of the Digambara sect, they sweep the floor ahead of them, because while walking they might trample upon ants, etc., and kill them. And that way they will be committing violence. They put a mukapatti, a piece of cloth, on their nose and mouth, covering their nose and mouth, because while inhaling, they might inhale microorganisms, nigodas, and then that way commit violence. Therefore, they're not supposed to walk on grass. They're not supposed to swim in the water, walk in the rain, because while walking in the rain, they might, stamp ants or a frog, etc., and kill them. They're not supposed to take a swim in the river, because that way they might harm the fishes, etc. Um, no? So they believe in all these things. Similarly, they believe that there is life in fire also. So the monks and nuns are not supposed to extinguish fire. Let's say there's a candle. So let's say this is a candle and it is a flame. They're not supposed to do foo. They're not supposed to do foo and blow off the candle, because that way they might harm fire bodies, because there is life even in fire according to Jains. Then they also believe that there are nigodas in the air. Okay, so so earth bodies, fire bodies, air bodies, they're not supposed to fan themselves. So let us say you're feeling very, very hot. It's summer time. So what do? You take a piece of cloth, or you take a paper, and you or cardboard, and you want to fan yourself. There's no fan, let us say, or not. You are not sitting in an AC. You're not supposed to do this, because when you're doing this, when you're trying to fan yourself, you might be hurting the nigodas. Therefore, you're not supposed to fan them. So it's a very difficult, you know, uh, religion to follow, particularly for the monks and the nuns. And that also explains why it did not become popular. Further, you see, if you want to become a monk and a nun, a Jain monk and a nun, they're supposed to shave their head. So what do we do? What do others do? They take a blade and they shave the head, or they shave the beard. So monks and nuns are supposed to shave. They shave in Buddhism and in Hinduism and in other religions. They shave their head with a blade. But in Jainism, no shaving is allowed. Each strand of hair is plucked from the scalp. So that's how they are bald. So that's how they shave their head. There's no shaving actually. Each strand of hair is plucked. So it's a very difficult religion to follow, and that explains why it did not become popular also. So here, life is there in all these elements. Shreyas, I don't know that. Shreyas says they don't brush their teeth because it kills all the nigodas in mouth. I don't know about that part, Shreyas. They may be taking a piece of stick, and brushing. I don't think they will not be brushing. Yeah. Um, right. Then Jainism believe that gods exist. You see here, gods exist. They believe that gods exist, but they are inferior to the Jinnah. So Jinnah is ultimate. So who is a Jinnah? Jinnah, basically, it's a human being with all the attributes. The best qualities in a human being is considered to be God, according to Jain. So here, uh, Jinnah is somebody who has all those attributes. So God is only inferior to the Jinnah. So position of Jinnah is much more superior to God. Then Jainism did not give much importance to the caste system. It did not condemn it outright like Buddhism did. So it did not give much importance to the caste system. Right. Then it believes in karma. That is, if you do good things will happen to you. You do bad things will happen to you. It believes in janma and also punarjanma, rebirth. Right. Jain philosophy is called Shadvada or Anekantavada. Jain philosophy is called Shadvada or Anekantavada. Now, what is this Shadvada or Anekantavada? Theory of maybe. Theory of maybe. So let me give you an example. What is the meaning of Anekantavada or Shadvada? Here, Jains say that you cannot definitely say yes or no. You can only say maybe, because knowledge keeps on changing. Now, look here. In other words, there are different opinions to a particular issue. Let's say there's an hourglass. Okay, there's an hourglass, right? Half empty, half full. So I fill it up with water. Okay, I fill it up with water. This is the water. So this is the water. Now there are two people. There is a person called A and there's a person called B. A says this is half full. This is half full. And B says It is half empty. Right? Both are correct. Do you agree with me? Both are correct. So this is what is the meaning of the Anekantavada or Shadvada. Right? Half full, half empty. So both are correct. You cannot definitely say that A is wrong or B is wrong. Both are correct. So that is the meaning of theory of maybe or no, Sham, I told, and in the beginning only I told, Mahavira has a person, individually did not believe in God. But Jainism has a religion, says that God exists, but they are inferior to the Jina. Jina is the ultimate. Right? Jina is the ultimate. Like, for example, among Buddhists, you have the Mahayanis believe in God and soul. Hinayanis don't believe. And generally in Buddhism, two gods are mentioned. One is Sakra, that is Indra, and other is Brahma. Okay, Brahma. These two gods are mentioned in Buddhism, Buddhist literature. But when you ask Buddha whether God existed or not, he never answered that question. So this was a later day construct, about the existence of God. Similarly, Jainism as a religion believes that gods exist, but they are inferior to Jina. But Mahavir as an individual believed that there is no God. Okay. Jana, I've already explained to you who's Jina. So Jina means conqueror. That's what Mahavira's followers called him. He is supposed to have declared himself as Jina once he attained Kaivalya, conqueror of ultimate knowledge. That's the meaning of Jina. And the word Jainism is from that word. Did you understand Anekantavada or Syadvada, theory of maybe? You cannot definitely say yes or no. You can only say maybe because knowledge keeps on changing. There are different opinions to an issue. Hello, are you there with me? Can you raise your hands? Hello? That is the meaning of theory of maybe. Thank you. So here, trying to emphasize, Jainism is even now relevant. These teachings of Jainism, like for example, the theory of Sadvada or Anekantavada, theory of maybe, is relevant even now. For example, let us take issue of religion. So one person may be saying one particular religion is superior to others. So you can always say that there are different opinions. All religions are great and all religions are true. And you cannot say that one religion is superior to another. Right? So that's how you can apply in the present context theory of Sadvada, Anekantavada. There are different opinions and all opinions are true. Just because a person is differing from your opinion doesn't mean that he is wrong. I gave you the example of half full, half empty. There's another example I can give you. Mahavira was born in Kundagrama. You know that he was born in Kundagrama and not in Kashi. And not in Kashi. So both are correct. So this is a positive predication. That is, he was born in Kundagama is a positive predication. And he was not born in Kashi is a negative predication. But both are correct. So this is called theory of maybe or theory of Sadvada or Anekantavada. Right? The Jina is only one. Jina is ultimate, the person who's conquered Kaivalya, who has attained Kaivalya. Jina, conqueror of ultimate knowledge. So Arjun, I have given you this example, right? Half full, half empty, right? So Mahavira was born at Kundagrama and not in Kashi. So both are correct. He was born in Kundagrama. He was not born in Kashi. So both are correct, right? That's how it explains. The Jain philosophy explains Sadvada or Anekantavada. Then Salekhana to attain, like for example, how can know who is Jina? Rajesh, I mean, so it is a state of a feeling, I suppose, just as Buddha received nirvana, enlightenment, he received the answers to his question. A different feeling, I suppose, a different mental state, a different state of awareness, I would say. So that's how a person would come to know that he's received his kaivalya or nirvana. Salekhana to attain salvation. Salekhana is voluntarily giving up food until one attains, one dies, right? That is called Salekhana. So what is the ultimate objective of a man? what is the ultimate purpose of a man? To attain salvation. That is kaivalya. The ultimate aim is to attain kaivalya. So how do you attain kaivalya? First of all, stop doing bad karmas. Keep on doing good karmas, and then you punish your body by denying it food, water, sleep, and meditate day and night. And that way you will attain kaivalya. That's what the Jains believe. And you should follow the Pancha Sutras: Satya, Ahimsa, Asteya, Aparigraha, Brahmacharya, and the three Ratnas. That is right faith, right knowledge, right action. So if you do all these things, a person can have a better chance of committing of attaining kaivalya. Right? I told you, Dipesh, I've already answered that question. Sallekkhana, Santhara. It is not considered to be illegal because the Jains have been following this practice from thousands of years. Right? Now, so Jainism is considered more of a reform movement. He did not teach anything new. All these beliefs existed even before Vardhaman. He only systematized it. He organized it. So therefore, Jainism is considered more of a reform movement than a new religion, a modern religion as such, right? So it's considered to be more of a reform movement. Now, what happened to Jainism? What happened to Jainism after the death of Mahavir? Understand this. What happened to Jainism after the death of Mahavira? Mahavira had 11 disciples, 11 students. So he had 11 students or disciples. Even before Mahavira died, 10 had died. 10 died even before Mahavira died. Only one was remaining. Right? So he had 11 close disciples or students called Ganadharas. They're called Ganadharas, the students of Mahavir. 10 died even before Mahavira died. So when Mahavira died, there was only one alive. And that man was Arya Sudharman or Arya Sadharman, who became the first Thera or pontiff of the Jain Sangha. So he became the pontiff. Pontiff is a Mathadipati, head of a Math. So pontiff, like for example, the Christian pontiff, the father, the Pope is considered to be the pontiff of the Roman Catholic Church. Pontiff means head of the church. So Arya Sudharman became the first pontiff or head of the Jain Sangha. Is called first Thera. The second Thera was Jambu. Second pontiff of the Jain Sangha was Jambu. During the time of Dhanananda, the last Nanda king, during whose period Alexander came, during the time of Dhanananda, there were two Theras. One was Sambhuta Vijaya, the fifth Thera, and Bhadrabahu, the sixth Thera. Right? Then, let us understand the schism in Jainism, the division in the Jain Sangha into Digambar and Shwetambar. So here, so let's say, so here we have the Chalukyas of Gujarat. This was a dynasty here ruling in the 12th century. In 1200 AD, there was a dynasty ruling Gujarat called the Chalukyas of Gujarat. Chalukyas of Gujarat. And there was a scholar in the Chalukyan court. His name was Hemachandra. His name was Hemachandra. And this Hemachandra writes a book. He wrote many books, but he writes one important book called Parishishta Parvan. Parishishta Parvan. So Trishashti Lakshana Mahapurana, then Neminacha Charitra, Parishishta Parvan. These are the various books written by Hemachandra. In this book called Parishishta Parvan, written in the 12th century AD, this Hemachandra, who was a scholar in the Chalukyas of Gujarat court. Chalukyas of Gujarat are also called Solankis. And there was a king called Jayasimha Siddharaja. Jayasimha Siddharaja. So this Jayasimha Siddharaja. So Hemachandra was a scholar in the court of King Jayasimha Siddharaja. And this Hemachandra writes a book called Parishishta Parvan. In this book, he talks about the division, how the division of the Jain Sangha happened. Now, he tells us that there was a famine in the time of Chandragupta Maurya in the Magadha region. So this is Patliputra, as you know, Bihar. This is Patliputra, capital of the Magadhan kingdom. And so here there was a famine. There were no rains for 12 years. There was a famine going on, and this famine was lasted for 12 years. No rains for 12 years. So we are told by Hemachandra that a group of Jain monks began to migrate towards South India. So they began to migrate towards South India like this. Their leader was Bhadrabahu. The leader of these Jain monks was Bhadrabahu. Now, not that all the Jain monks migrated towards South India. Some monks stayed back in the Magadha region, and their leader was Sthulabhadra or Sthulabahu. Sthulabahu, also called Sthulabhadra. Now, Chandragupta Maurya, the founder of the Mauryan dynasty, he gave away the throne to his son Bindusar, and he also joined Bhadrabahu. So Chandragupta Maurya abdicated the throne, gave away the throne to his son Bindusar, and he also joined this group of Jain monks who were migrating towards South India. And they come to the present region of Karnataka, to a region called Shravana Belagola. So there's a place called Shravana Belagola. So they come here. And Chandragupta Maurya, Bhadrabahu, and all those Jain monks began to stay in Shravana Belagola. After some years, these southern monks, that is the followers of Bhadrabahu, go back to North India. They go to North India after some years, right? So they go to North India, and what do they see? What they see is the followers of Stulabhadra had covered their private part with cloth, white cloth. So they had draped themselves with white cloth. So the followers of Stulabhadra had covered their body with white clothes. And these southern monks objected. You see, Vardhaman Mahavir recommended nudism because wearing clothes is also equal to possession, aparigraha. And please understand, you need to understand that nudism is only applicable to the males, not to the females. Females have to cover their body with clothes, but not the males. So nudism was only recommended for the males. But here, what do we see? Stulabhadra's followers had covered their private parts with white cloth, and the southern monks objected. The monks who had come away to South India objected. They told, you are breaking the rules laid down by Mahavir. How dare you wear white clothes? Why do you cover your body with white clothes? But then the Stulabhadra's followers said that they are going to cover their body with white clothes. As a result, this resulted in a division in the Jain Sangha. Those followers of Stulabhadra who had covered their body with white cloth came to be called Shvetambara. Shweta in Sanskrit is white. Shvetambara. So those who cover their body with white clothes, they came to be called Shvetambars. And those who were naked, that is the followers of Bhadrabahu, came to be called Digambars. Digambara. Digambara means sky-clad. Digambara means sky-clad. Sky is their cloth. And Shvetambara means white-clad. So around 300 BC, Jain Sangha got divided into Shvetambara and Digambara. This story is given in which book? Parishishta Parvan, written by Hemachandra in the 12th century AD. He was a scholar in the court of the Solankis, Chalukyas of Gujarat. Did you understand? Bahubali, I'm coming to that, Shreyas. Just hold on. So you can see here, Hemachandra is the one who gives the story. There was a famine in the Magadha. So in his book Parishishta Parvan, he talks about it. So there was a famine during the time of Chandragupta Maurya's reign, and you have a group of Jain monks who went away to Shravana Belagola along with Bhadrabahu and Chandragupta Maurya. CGM is Chandragupta Maurya. So in short, I have put that word Chandragupta Maurya. So Shravana Belagola, this is Shravana Belagola for you. You can see here on your screen Shravana Belagola. So here there is a cave inside on this hill. This is called Chandragiri Hill. This hill has been named after Chandragupta Maurya. It's called Chandragiri Hill. And there is a gufa or a cave here where Chandragupta Maurya lived for many years. He meditated there. There's a small temple on top. Of course, the temple was not there as it exists now. It is much bigger in size. So there was a small temple there, a basadi, a Jain basadi. A Jain temple is called a basadi. So he used to worship there, meditate there, and also stay in that gufa or a cave. And ultimately, he committed Sallekana. And on the summit of the Chandragiri hill, you can see here on your screen, this is the statue of Bahubali Gomateshwara, India's tallest monolithic statue. Historically, India's tallest monolithic statue. We'll come to the story of Bahubali Gomateshwara in some time. This is a very holy place for the monks, particularly Digambara monks. And you can see here, people are walking up. They're walking up the summit. So there are 660 steps here, 660 steps. People who cannot walk, there is also a facility for of a palanquin, so they'll carry you if you pay money to those workers, and then you go on top, and then you take the darshan of Bahubali Gomateshwara, who is considered to be a saint in Jainism. So this is Chandragiri Hill. So this is Shravanabalagola, Chandragiri Hill. Shravanabalagola is considered to be the birthplace of Digambara Jainism. So you can see here on your screen. So founders, the follower of Stulabhadra came to be called Shvetambaras. They cover their private part with cloth. So they are the followers of Parshvanath. Parshvanath had said that people should cover their body with white cloth. So they are the followers of Parshvanath, whereas Digambars are sky-clad. They are the followers of Bhadrabahu. They are the followers of Vardhaman Mahavir, founder was Bhadrabahu. So Shravanabelagola is the birthplace of Digambara Jainism. Are you there with me, all of you? Clear? Can I move on? Okay, now let us come to the statue of Bahubali Gomateshwara. You see, many people are inquisitive about Bahubali Gomateshwara. So let me tell you the story. So we have the Gangas of Talakad. So there was a dynasty which ruled Karnataka, parts of Karnataka, old Mysore state. Uh, these are the Gangas of Talakadu. Gangas. They're called the Western Gangas, as opposed to the Eastern Gangas of Orissa. The Eastern Gangas ruled over Orissa. Western Gangas ruled from Talakkad. Talakkad as their capital. Now, there was a minister of this Western Ganga dynasty. There was a king. His name was Rachamalla the Fourth. Rachamalla the Fourth. So he ruled sometime in the 10th century AD, and he had a minister called Chavundaraya. Chavundaraya. This Chavundaraya is the person who ordered the construction, the sculpting rather, of the statue of Bahubali Gomateshwara. It was installed in 981 AD. It was completed and installed in the year 981 AD. It took 12 years to make this one statue. The chief architect was Arishtanemi. You can see here, the chief architect was Arishtanemi. So he was the chief architect under a group of sculptors. He was the one who supervised and completed the statue of Bahubali Gomateshwara. It is about 58 feet in height. 58 feet in height. So let me tell you the story of Bahubali Gomateshwara. Who was this Bahubali Gomateshwara? Why is he standing like that on the summit of the Chandragiri hill in Shravanabelagola, Hassan district, Karnataka? So you see, the first Tirthankar, as you all know, was Rishabhanath. So the first Tirthankar was Rishabhanatha. We are told that Rishabha was a Chakravarti. He was an emperor. So he had a huge empire and he had many wives and from them many sons. Rishabhanath or Adinatha is also called Adinatha. So he had many wives and from them many sons. His eldest son was Bharata. Rishabha's eldest son was Bharata. And one of Rishabha's sons was Bahubali. So Bahubali was one of his sons. So before Rishabha, the first Tirthankara, died, he divided the empire amongst his sons, amongst his various sons. Major part of the empire he gave away to his son Bharata. So major part was given away to Bharata, his eldest son. So Bharata was his eldest son. So he received the major part of his father's empire. And other sons were given small kingdoms, small areas. And Bahubali was given the kingdom of Paudanapura. Paudanapura was the kingdom given to Bahubali. And after having divided his empire like this, Rishabhanath died. So once Rishabhanath died, Bharata became the Chakravarti. Chakravarti means emperor. So Bharata became the Chakravarti. And Bharata was a very greedy man, I believe, Chakravarti. So he became the Chakravarti. He was a very greedy emperor. He wanted everything for himself. He did not want to share any part of his father's empire with his brothers, with his stepbrothers. So Bharata began to wage war against his stepbrothers and he defeated all of them and he took away their kingdom. And ultimately, he challenged Bahubali. So Bahubali, who was the king of Paudanapura. So Bahubali is supposed to have told his elder brother Bharata, definitely we will fight, but let us not involve our armies. Unnecessarily, innocent lives will be lost. So let us have a one-to-one fight. So Bharata agreed. Right? Bharata agreed. And these two people, Bharata and Bahubali, had three duels, three competitions. One is Malla Yuddha. Malla Yuddha. That is wrestling competition. Number two, Jala Yuddha. Jala Yuddha is throwing water on each other. And three, Drishti Yuddha. Drishti Yuddha is looking into each other's eyes. Whoever blinks, they loses. Like in school, in primary school, we all have played this game, looking into each other's eyes, and whoever blinks, they lose. So Malla Yuddha, Jala Yuddha, and Drishti Yuddha. In all these competitions, Bahubali defeated his brother Bharata decisively. He was able to win in all these battles, Bahubali. So Bharata got very, very angry, I believe. So Bharata had a weapon called Chakra. So it was a magical wheel called Chakra. So Bharata let loose the Chakra on Bahubali to kill Bahubali. But this Chakra, a magical Chakra or a wheel, took three circles around Bahubali. So it did a pradakshina. It did a circumambulation of Bahubali and without harming Bahubali and parked itself on Bahubali's right. So it stood before, to the right of Bahubali, this particular Chakra, to the amazement of the onlookers. So Bahubali had decisively defeated his brother Bharata and he should become the Chakravarti now. But then Bahubali realized that power, money, land, all these has led to fratricidal conflict. Brothers have fought for this reason, for power, money, land, etc. So he felt all this is useless. So he decided to give up his kingdom to his brother Bharata and he became a monk. He became a Digambar monk and he decided to meditate. So he stood in that position. He stood in that position. It's a yoga position called Kayot Sarga, as you can see on your screen. A yoga position called Kayot Sarga. So he stood in that position and he began to meditate. You can see his eyes are half closed, and he went into deeper and deeper levels of meditation. So that ant hills began to grow around his legs. Creepers began to grow. You can see on your screen. You see creepers. This is the ant hill. You can see the creepers here. So creepers began to grow around his leg, around the ant hill. Ant hill also was formed, but he remained unfazed. And within a year, he was able to achieve Kaivalya. What takes people many generations to achieve? He was able to achieve Kaivalya in just 1 year. So you can see the creepers have also grown around his arms. So it's a very beautiful statue. If you go there, you see as if it is very real. Not even a scratch on it. The earlobes, the eyes, the skin, see the fingers here. They look so real. So this is the statue of Bahubali Gommateshwara at Shravana Belagola. Every once in 12 years, there is a great ceremony which takes place here from the time of its inception. From the time the statue was constructed or rather installed until now, we have a great ceremony which is performed there in Shravana Belagola. It is a once in a 12-year ceremony. It is called Mahamastaka Abhisheka. You can see on your screen, Mahamastaka Abhisheka, the great head anointment ceremony, the great head anointing ceremony. You see, there's a difference between Mahamastaka Abhisheka and Mastaka Abhisheka. You see, what is Mastaka Abhisheka? Mastaka Abhisheka. This is only, this is performed for other replicas of Bahubali. We have copies or replicas of Bahubali in other parts of South India, like for example, Venur, Karkala. They're all in Karnataka. Venur, Karkala, Dharmasthala. So these are all replicas of Bahubali, Gomateshwara. They are smaller in size. The original statue, as you can see here, is about 57, 58 feet in height, whereas the other replicas are smaller in size. This is with due respect to the original statue. So here also an Abhisheka takes place. It's called Mastaka Abhisheka in Dharmasthala, Venur, Karkala. But Mahamastaka Abhisheka takes place only once in 12 years at Shravanabelagala for the statue of Bahubali Gomateshwara. So keep that in mind. Mahamastaka Abhisheka. These are all Mastaka Abhishekas performed in other places. So Mahamastaka Abhisheka, once in 12 years it is held, right? And what do the Jains do? You see, from the time of its installation, we have the ceremony performed. Huge scaffolds are put in. You can see there on the screen, to the left of your screen, you have scaffolds put. Now the government of Karnataka also participates in organizing temporary shelters because thousands and lakhs of Jains from all over the world congregate at Shravanabelagola. So there's a trust there. They organize this particular ceremony. Government of Karnataka also furnishes, law, security, police, etc., etc. And you have 1,008 kalashas. 1,008 kalash, are small drums, steel drums, the kalash with Ganga water, coconut water, tender coconut, ghee, honey. All those are all put, kumkum, turmeric, all those things are mixed in that 108 kalash. Then bidding takes place. There is auction takes place. Whoever quotes the highest amount, that person is given the privilege of putting the first kalash on top of the head of Bahubali Gomateshwara. So they have to climb up the scaffold and then put it on the head of Bahubali Gomateshwara. So last time it was held in 2018. You can see on your screen it was held in 2018, and the small kalash it went for a auction of 50 crore, approximately 50 crore. Somebody, Jains are very enterprising business people, so they have a lot of money, and they consider this as a very holy place. So the privilege was that person's, whoever quoted the highest amount, and that person put the kalash, and then others followed suit. So the next Abhisheka, Mahamastaka Abhisheka, would be held in the year 2030. Right? Are you there with me, all of you? Yeah. Thank you, Surya. So this is the story of Bahubali Gomateshwara, at Shravanabelagola. It is historically India's tallest monolithic statue, 58 feet in height. Now, in course of time, we have subsects which arose from Digambaras, the Samayas. Samayas was a subsect which arose from Digambaras, and Therapanthis from the Shvetambaras. These are subsects within Jainism. Subsects within Jainism as such. Right. Zeba, I'm not very sure about the Mastaka Abhisheka ceremonies. Mahamastaka Abhisheka takes place only once in 12 years. About the Mastaka Abhishekas, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm sorry for that. Mahamastaka Abhisheka takes place once in 12 years. So you can see here Jain monks, they are, putting milk, honey, etc. on the feet of Bahubali Gomateshwara on the right of your screen. Then, of course, the statue of Ahimsa. This is the tallest Jain Tirthankara statue. This is the statue of the first Tirthankara, Rishabhanath, on your screen. This is 108 feet in height. This is the tallest Jain statue in the world. It is in Nasik, Maharashtra. In Nashik, it is located at Mangitungi, a place called Mangitungi, and it was constructed in 2016. So it is a monolithic statue again. The construction or sculpting began in 2002, and it was completed in 2016. The inspiration was this Jain nun called Gyanmati. So she was the one who was the inspiration behind this particular statue. It is 108 feet tall. This is a statue of the first Tirthankara, Rishabhanath. The first Tirthankara, Rishabhanath. The statue of Mangitungi, 108 feet tall. Right. Now, let us look at other aspects of Jainism. We have two councils which took place after the death of Mahavira. The first council took place in the beginning of the 3rd century BC at Pataliputra. Now, you see, who was the president? Stulabhadra. Now, the teachings of Mahavir were contained in books called 14 Purvas. Understand this, please. Mahavira's teachings were contained in books called 14 Purvas. These are the names of the books, 14 Purvas. By the time the first council took place, these 14 Purvas had been lost. We don't know where they went, they were lost. So whoever had read the 14 Purvas, they recollected all those information, and all that information was recollected and compiled again into 12 Angas. So 14 Purvas were reduced to 12 Angas in the first council. I repeat, Mahavira's teachings were contained in books called 14 Purvas. They had been lost by the first council, by the time the first Jaina council took place. Therefore, they were reduced to 12 Angas. People who had read the 14 Purvas recollected all that information, and then they were organized into 12 books called 12 Angas. This is the first council. This particular council was boycotted by the Digambaras. Only the Shvetambaras attended this council. In fact, both the councils were boycotted by the Digambaras. Only it was organized by the Shvetambaras. Only they attended. The second council took place in the 5th century AD at Vallabhi in Gujarat. The president was Devaradik Shamasramana. Devaradik Shamasramana, one name, Devaradik Shamasramana. 12 Angas were further reduced to 11 Upangas in this particular council. 12 Angas were reduced to 11 Upangas. So 12 Angas further reduced to 11 Upangas, sub-chapters. Okay, so these are the two Jain councils. Then we have a book called Kalpa Sutra written by Bhadrabahu. So apart from the 12 Angas, these are the most important. These are considered to be the most important books after the 12 Angas. It was written by Bhadrabahu, the Kalpa Sutra, and it has 3 parts. The Kalpa Sutra, Jinacharita. This is the biography of 24 Tirthankaras. All the biography of 24 Tirthankaras are given here. In Jinacharita, Theravali Charita, biography of 11 Ganadharas, the students of Vardhaman, Ganadharas, the 11 disciples, 11 students. So Theravali Charita. Then Samachari, religious code of conduct of Jainism. So how the Jains are supposed to conduct themselves. Samachari. So this is the Kalpa Sutta written by Bhadrabahu. It was written for the Digambara Jains. It was written for the Digambara Jains by Bhadrabahu. So let us look at the other aspects of Jainism, popularity of Jainism. What are the reasons for the popularity of Jainism? Of course, we have a number of kings, emperors, dynasties, merchants who patronized Jainism. Of course, first of all, Chandragupta Maurya, who was converted to Jainism by Bhadrabahu, and he went away to South India and committed Stalekhana. So we know this, Chandragupta Maurya patronized Jainism. Then we have Kharavela, the Jain king of Kalinga. So belonged to the Chedi dynasty of Kalinga. So Kalinga or Orissa became independent after the decline of the Mauryas. In the 2nd century BC, we have a king called Kharavela. So we come to know about Kharavela. We have done this through which inscription? What is the name of the inscription which gives information about Kharavela? Students, what is the name of the inscription? Do you remember? Hathi Gufa. Very good, Stephen. Hathi Gufa, elephant cave inscription. So it gives information about the military exploits of Kharavela. So he organized a Jain council at Kumaragiri in 161 BC. Kumaragiri is in Orissa, Khandagiri, Kumaragiri. And his aim was to unite the Jain Sangha. It had got divided to Digambar, Shvetambar. He wanted to unite the Jain Sangha into one, but this effort of Kharavela failed. Then we have we have the kings of Gujarat, Siddharaja, Kumarapala. So they also patronized Jainism, Siddharaja, Kumarapala. Then the Rashtrakutas of Karnataka were the last great patrons of Jainism. The Rashtrakuta kings, remember Krishna the first built the biggest rock cut temple in the world. Amogha Varsha was their greatest king who cut away his thumb the left thumb of his hand. So these are the Rashtrakutas. They patronized Jainism. And Amoghavarsha, their greatest king, wrote Ratnamalika, and one of his poets, Sri Vijaya, wrote the Kaviraja Marga, the oldest existing book in Kannada. So these two books are written in Kannadasi. What is Kannadasi? Kannada written in Prakrit form. Kannada written in the Prakrit form is called Kannadasi. So that is Ratnamalika and Kaviraja Marga. Then Jainism basically did not attract the masses. It did not become a world religion. See, Buddhism became a world religion. It spread outside India and became a world religion. But Jainism was confined to only a few pockets of India. It did not become a world religion because of two reasons. One is, of course, the extreme emphasis on the concept of ahimsa. So, extreme emphasis on the concept of ahimsa is number one. And number two, of course, nudism. So, here, because of these two reasons, Jainism did not become very, very popular. It's only confined even now to a few pockets of India. And ultimately, many of the, it was assimilated soon by Brahmanism. So let us look at the contributions of Jainism. First of all, development of local languages. So Jains were the ones who promoted local languages. We have, so you see Prakrit. Prakrit has two dialects. One is Pali and the other is Ardhamagadi. These are two dialects of Prakrit, Pali and Ardhamagadi. So Pali was used by Buddha, as you all know, and Ardhamagadi was used by Mahavira. These are two dialects of Prakrit. So they were the ones who promoted Prakrit, local languages. Mahavira taught in Ardhamagadi. All Jain scriptures are in Prakrit language. Bhadrabahu wrote Kalpa Sutra for the Digambar Jains in Prakrit. And then Kannada written in Prakrit form is called Kannarasi. Marathi written in Prakrit form is called Suraseni. They later became Kannada and Marathi. So these are all, these languages have borrowed from many languages. It's gradually evolved into the modern languages of Marathi, Kannada, etc. So even there some Sanskrit words have been borrowed by Kannada. So Kannarasi, that is Kannada written in Prakrit form, Swaraseni, Marathi written in Prakrit form, they were all developed by the Jains. They also contributed towards cave temple architecture, the Jains. So we have cave temples at Orissa, Indragiri and Chandragiri in Shravanabelagola, Khandagiri and Udayagiri, Kumaragiri, Khandagiri, Kumaragiri in Kalinga, that is Orissa, Badami in Karnataka. So they contributed towards cave temple architecture. The Jains built a number of basadis. What are basadis? Jain temples. They're also called guchas. They're also called guchas, Jain temples. And the best example of a Jain temple is the Dilwara temple built at Rajasthan by Bhima the first of the Solanki dynasty. Dilwara temple, Mount Abu. And they were also the first to develop Indian sculpture. The best example of Indian sculpture is Bahubali Gommateshwara at Shravanabelagola. Right? So here, yeah. So Jainism, see, the Buddhists were attacked. You remember, in 12th century, we have the attacks of Bhaktiar Kalji Saumya. So Saumya is asking, nowadays Jainism has become more popular than Buddhism. Buddhism also is popular. We have something called Neo-Buddhism. Many of the other communities, including the Shudras, they have converted into Buddhism. So, and the Buddhism lost its popularity simply because of the attacks of the Turkish invaders like Bhaktiar Kalji. Then the Avatara system made Buddhism lose its popularity. Many of the Shudras stopped converting themselves to Buddhism because Lord Buddha was made an avatar of Vishnu. So we have discussed all these things, Soumya. So we'll come back here. Let us look at the questions from Jainism topic. 1995. The concept of Anuvrata was advocated by Jainism. What is Anuvrata? What's Anuvrata? What is Anuvrata? Quickly. Anuvrata. When those Pancha Sutra, Satya, Ahimsa, Asteya, Aparigraha, Brahmacharya are strictly followed by Jain monks and nuns, they are called Mahavratas. When they are followed in a less rigorous manner, less strict manner, that is called Anuvratas. Okay, very good. Lay followers. Roshan, it is followed in a less rigorous manner. Okay, very good. Dhyana, Roshan, Stephen, you answered correctly. Then let us look at another question, 2000 question. Assertion: the emphasis of Jainism on non-violence prevented agriculturists from embracing Jainism. This is right. Number two, cultivation involved killing of insects and pests. So this is also right. So Jainism doesn't ban people from engaging in agriculture. It discourages people from engaging in agriculture. So both A and R are true, and R is the correct explanation of A. Right? Then consider the following statements. 2003 question. Vardhaman Mahavira's mother was the daughter of Lichavi chief Chetaka. Is it true? Vardhaman Mahavira's mother was the sister Zeba. Very good. Purva, Divyani, Sham, they all answered correct. So the first statement is wrong. She was a sister of the Lichavi chief Chetaka. Gautama Buddha's mother was a princess from the Koshalan dynasty. Is it true? Second statement. She was the mother of a princess. She was a princess from the Koshalan dynasty. Right. She was. Parshvanath, the Pandita Tirthankar, belonged to Banaras. Yes or no? Third statement. Yes. So, how many statements are correct? They're asking. So, 2 and 3 are correct. 2 and 3 are correct. C is the answer. Then next question, 2004, with reference to ancient Jainism, which one of the following statements are correct? They're asking which is correct. Jainism was spread in South India under the leadership of Stulabahu. Answer that question. Question A. Bhadrabahu. Very good, Himani. So this statement is wrong. Second statement. Sham, Zeba. Very easy question. You're right. All of you are right. The Jains who remained under the leadership of Bhadrabahu were called Shvetambaras after the council held at Patliputra. No, they are known as Digambaras. Very good. Jainism enjoyed the patronage of the Kalinga king Kharavela in the 1st century BC. That is right. In the initial stages of Jainism, the Jains worshipped image worship like Buddhists. Wrong. Okay, so only one statement is correct. That is C. C is the answer. Then, Anekantavada is a core theory and philosophy of which one of the following? 2009. So you know, theory of maybe, Jainism. Right? Theory of maybe, Jainism. Then Mahamastakabhisheka, a great religious event, is associated with and done for who of the following? Who of the following? Bahubali, Gomateshwara. Very easy question these are, as you know. So when was the last held? 2018. And the next will be held in 2030. So another next will be held after 6 years, 2030. So once in 12 years. The Jain philosophy holds that the world is created and maintained by universal law. 2011 question. Universal truth is wrong. Universal faith is wrong. Universal soul is wrong. It is universal law. 2013 question. Which of the following statements are or is applicable to Jain doctrine? The surest way of annihilating karma is to practice penance. Yes or no? How to get rid of karma? By practicing penance. Yes. Every object, even the smallest particle, has a soul. Yes or no? Yes. Karma is the bane of the soul and must be ended. This is also correct. So, how many statements are correct? All the three are correct. 1, 2, and 3 are correct. D is the answer. Then 2018 question, with reference to the religious practices in India, the Sthanakavasi sect belongs to what? So it belongs to Buddhism. It belongs to Jainism, Sthanakavasi. Sthanakavasis, they perform religious practices in a sthanak, in a monk's house. Okay, so therefore they are called Sthanakavasi. Is a subsect of the Shvetambara sect. Shvetambara sect. So I have given the explanation here. A modern subsect of Shvetambara, the Sthanakavasis, also called Dhundiya. They're also called Dhundiya. They perform religious duties at a secular place, such as a monk's meeting house or a sthanak. It rejects idol worship and temple rituals. So Shvetambaras believe in idol worship and temple rituals, whereas the Sthanakavasis don't believe in that. It was founded by a person called Lava of Surat, right? Who was part of a sect called Lumpaka. And from the Therapanthy arose from the Sthanakavasis. The Therapanthy sect arose from the Sthanakavasi sect. So all these details are here. Go through it. So the answer is Jainism. Answer is there in this particular page with a yellow background. This is for your understanding. I have given the answer here. Next question. With reference to the cultural history of India, consider the following pairs. 2020 question. Parivrajaka, renunciant and wanderer. This is correct. Shramana, priest with a high status. Not correct. The Shramanas are wandering ascetics. Shramana is a wandering ascetic. Remember, there was Subhadra. Buddha gave his last discourse to Ananda and a wandering ascetic called Subhadra. So Subhadra was a Shramana, wandering ascetic. Upasaka, lay follower of Buddhism. So this is correct. Lay follower of Buddhism. Upasaka, Upasika, we have done this. Upasaka, Upasika, who are not a lay follower is somebody who is not part of the Buddhist Sangha. So he's called Upasaka. Male counterpart is called Upasaka. Upasika is the female counterpart. So which of the pairs are correctly matched? 1 and 3 are matched correctly. Then, with reference to the religious history of India, consider the following statements. Sautantrika and Sammatya. So this is again a UPSC question. The year is missing here. I did not get the year. Sautantrika and Sammatya were the sects of Jainism. No, they are the sects of Buddhism. So you can see here. So Buddhism, yesterday's class, you refer to the PPTs, you'll come to know. I've given you Sautantrika, Sammatya. They were all part of Hinayana and Mahasangikas, Purvashila, Aparashila, Chaityak, Sarvastivada, they were all part of Mahasangikas. So Hinayana consisted of Stavirvadins or Theravadins, then of course Sautantrika, Sammatya. So it is not a sect of Jainism, it is a sect of Buddhism. Sarvastivadin held that the constituents of phenomena were not wholly momentary, but existed forever in a latent form. So this is correct. So you remember when I did fourth Buddhist council, a new sect arose in Kashmir called Sarvastivada sect, founded by Rahula Bhadda or Rahula Bhadra. So Sarvastivadins believe that things exist and exist forever in a latent form. That is, they existed in the past, they exist in the present, and they also exist in the future. That's what the Sarvastivadins believe. So therefore, only 2 is correct. The answer is here on your screen. Go through it. The answer is there in the screen. So Sarvastivadin believe that everything empirical to be impermanent. They maintain that dharma factors are eternally existing. So things exist and exist continuously in the past, future, as well as the present. That's what they believe in, the Sarvastivadins. Kushdeep, I've answered your question. Things exist from in the past, in the present, and in the future. Then, so again, I have given you one more note on Sautantrika, Sammatya. Go through it. Then with reference to Indian history, this is a 2022 question, as you can see on your screen, 2022 question. With reference to Indian history, consider the following textbooks. This is basically a literature topic, but then in the context of Jainism, I have given you Netti Pakarna, Parishishta Parvan, Avadana Shataka, Trishashti Lakshana Mahapurana. Trishashti Lakshana Mahapurana. Avadana Shataka, Parishishta Parvan, Netti Pakarana. Now, which of the above are Jain texts they're asking? So here, Parishishta Parvan, we have discussed this, and Trishashti Lakshana Mahapurana. These are the 2 which are Jain texts. The other 2 are Buddhist textbooks. Netti Pakarana, I give the answer here, you can see. These are the methods taught by Kachana. So in the first council, Ananda recited the Sutta Pitaka, Upali recited the Vinaya Pitaka, Netti Pakarana was recited by Kachana, supposedly a disciple of the Buddha. So this is a Buddhist book. Parishishta Parvan, you know, Parishishta Parvan, written by Hemachandra, which talks about the division in the Jain Sangha. Avadana Shataka, this is again a Buddhist book. 100 glorious deeds. Shataka is 100. Shatak, you know, Tendulkar ne Shatak Mara, 100. Shataka, 100. Avadana Shataka, a glorious 100 deeds. Jataka stories. So they are Jataka stories connected with Buddhism. And Trishashti Lakshana Mahapurana, written by Jinasena, who was the religious preceptor of Amogavarsha. So he was the guru, religious guru, Jinasena of Amogavarsha. He writes Trishashti Lakshana Mahapurana. Refer to my medieval India PPTs. Refer to your medieval India PPTs of Rashtrakutas. You will get that answer. Are you there with me? The Shvetambaras practice idol worship. Shvetambaras practice idol worship. You must have seen Jain temples. So they worship idols of Tirthankaras, not the Digambaras. So Bhagavatism, as you can see here on your screen, let us come to Jainism. So this is about Jainism. Are you clear? So let us come to Bhagavatism and Shaivism. Let us talk about Bhagavatism. What is Bhagavatism? Satyam says, sir, yesterday there was a notification that prelims exam has been postponed to June 16th. Can you please confirm it? I have no idea, Satyam. I was too busy to even read the paper, so I was not able to see that. I don't know. Others should tell you. Shreya says yes. So please confirm that. Yes, sir, it is postponed. Okay. So that means you have extra time to prepare. So don't rest. Don't rest. You have extra time to prepare. So you prepare both for the prelims and mains. How many days has it been mentioned? How many days it has been postponed? 16th June. Okay. So you have 21 days. Okay, great. So that means when is going to be the mains? Mains will be the same date, is it? Mains will be the same date. It's already fixed mains date. So therefore you will have 20th September. So that means you have 21 days less, 20 or 21 days less for the mains. Why don't you think that way? You have 20 or 21 days lesser for the mains. So you make it a point to thoroughly prepare for prelims and see that you also take out some time and prepare for the mains. So that many days lesser for the mains. So it becomes a challenge, So don't think short term, think long term. Okay, so it's going to be has according to the scheduled date. So we'll come back here. Bhagavatism. What's Bhagavatism? Very simple. Understand this. Bhagavatism is the worship of Krishna, Vasudeva Krishna. Now let me give the gist of this. Bhagavatism is the worship of Lord Krishna, Vasudeva Krishna. It has three concepts. Bhagavatism. So the word Bhagavat, it is from the word Bhaj. The word Bhagavat is from the word Bhaja. Means to adore. It means to adore. To adore. Now, Bhagavatism has three concepts. Understand this? It has three concepts. Number one, Bhakti, Prapatti, and number three, Nishkama Karma. Nishkama Karma. Bhakti, Prapatti, Nishkama Karma. So what is Bhakti? Bhakti is unadulterated devotion. Unadulterated. Pure devotion. Unadulterated devotion to a chosen deity. That is called Bhakti. To a chosen deity. Pure Bhakti. Prapatti, total surrender. Total surrender. Nishkama Karma, that is worshipping without any selfish motive. So you worship Krishna without any selfish motive. Nishkama Karma, that is, for example, exam comes near, all of us have done this, I'm sure. Please help me, God, to help me, to get through this exam, SSLC, PUC, etc. Get me a seat in the in medicine, engineering. I'll break 10 coconuts, okay, etc. So such things are selfish. Nishkama Karma is worshipping without any selfish motive. So it has three concepts: Bhakti, Prapatti, Nishkama Karma. Now we are told that Bhagavatism, that is worship of Krishna. Understand this. Whatever I'm telling you is there in the PPT. Understand the gist of it. Now, the worship of Krishna existed as early as 1000 BC, I believe. That is in the later Vedic period. As early as 1000 BC, worship of Krishna, Vasudeva Krishna existed. But then Bhagavatism, or the worship of Krishna, condemned rituals and sacrifices. It condemned the necessity of Vedas. It condemned the Vedas, then the rituals and sacrifices. So this was the backbone of the Vedic religion, isn't it? Vedas, rituals, sacrifices. So all these were condemned by Bhagavatism as not necessary. So so it was, they criticized the Bhagavats, the practitioners of worship of Krishna, considered all these things as not necessary. So they condemned it. Therefore, the Brahmanas, the guardians of the Vedic religion, did not promote Bhagavatism. They did not promote the worship of Krishna. But in the 6th century BC, please understand, during the 6th century BC, Buddhism had become very, very popular. But the Buddhism had become very, very popular. Buddhism was becoming more and more popular, and therefore, a number of Shudras were also converting themselves to Buddhism. So Shudras were converting themselves to Buddhism because Buddha had promised nirvana to everybody, irrespective of varna or sex. So Shudras and women also could get nirvana, attain nirvana. So there was a danger to the Vedic religion. This migration into Buddhism by the Shudras resulted in a possible danger to the Vedic religion. Therefore, the guardians of the Vedic religion thought it prudent to revive Krishna worship. So they began to revive Krishna worship. Why did they revive Bhagavatism or Krishna worship? Because according to folklore, according to tradition, according to folklore, Krishna was a cowherd. Krishna was a cowherd. That is, he belonged to the Yadava community. So that way, he was closer to the Shudras than anybody else. So since he was a Yadava or a cowherd, we belong to the cowherd community. They felt it prudent to revive Krishna worship, and they brought in the concept of bhakti. They told everybody that you don't need to perform any rituals or sacrifices. You just close your eyes and pray to Krishna. And if you are able to win his grace, then he will give you whatever you want. So they emphasize on the concept of bhakti without having to perform any rituals or sacrifices, without having to give anything to God. So if you want to give, you give some water or a leaf or a fruit or a flower. If you don't have anything to give, don't give anything. You just pray to Krishna, close your eyes, and with pure devotion, without any selfish motive, you pray to Krishna and he'll give you whatever you want if you win his grace. This seemed to become more attractive. This became very, very attractive to the Shudras and to others, simply because by this time, Buddhism had become a little complicated. You have some rituals, practices being incorporated into Buddhism, and that seemed complicated when compared to Bhagavatism. So many of the people began to worship Krishna, including foreigners like the Indo-Greeks. So Indo-Greeks also began to worship Krishna. So once Bhagavatism became popular, that is, worship of Krishna became popular, Krishna was reduced to an avatar of Vishnu. So Krishna was brought into Brahmanism, brought into Brahmanism, and Krishna became an avatar of Vishnu. He became an avatar of Vishnu. He was made an avatar of Vishnu. So he becomes the 8th avatar. You can see here, Matsya, Kurma, Varaha, Narsimha, Vamana, Parshurama, Rama, Krishna. Buddha is the 9th. So Krishna was made an avatar, 8th avatar of Vishnu. And by the Gupta period, please understand, by the Gupta period, Bhagavatism, that is worship of Krishna, was completely absorbed by Vaishnavism. So that Krishna became an avatar of Vishnu. So this is the gist of this topic. Bhagavatism is the worship of Krishna. We have the concept of bhakti seen first in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. So we have the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Shvetashvatara Upanishad talks about bhakti concept. We have bhakti concept also in the Bhagavad Gita, right? And the Bhagavata Purana. So this concept of bhakti is found in all these books. And we have the earliest inscriptional evidence of Krishna worship. You remember when I have done ancient India, post-Maurya period, we have the earliest example of Krishna worship, an inscriptional evidence. We have an ambassador called Heliodorus. He was the ambassador of the Indo-Greek king Antialcidas. Antialcidas. He was an Indo-Greek king. He sent an ambassador called Heliodorus to the court of Bhagabhadra Kasipura. Bhagabhadra Kasipura. So he sent an ambassador called Heliodorus, this Antialcidas, Indo-Greek king, to Bhagabhadra Kasipura, the sixth king of the Sungas. And having come to Kasipura, Heliodorus was enamored, was influenced greatly by Krishna worship, and he became a worshipper of Krishna. He became a Bhagavata. That is worship of Krishna. And he installed one pillar. He installed one pillar with a Garuda on top. This is called Garuda pillar inscription at where? Besnagar, which is identified with Vidisha in Madhya Pradesh, present day Vidisha in Madhya Pradesh. So this is the earliest inscriptional evidence we have about Krishna worship. So Krishna worship became popular by the 6th century BC, Sham. Around the same time it became popular, but then please understand earlier, in 1000 BC, I believe it existed. But then it was not promoted, it was not encouraged because Bhagavatism criticized the Vedic rituals, sacrifices, etc. And therefore the Brahmanas, the guardians of the Vedic religion, did not promote Bhagavatism. But in the 6th century BC, it was thought prudent to revive Bhagavatism because according to folklore, Krishna belonged to the cowherd community, Yadava community. And that way, he will be closer to the Shudras than to anybody else. So he was revived, the worship of Krishna was revived. Okay, and then slowly you have it becoming popular. The concept of bhakti was brought in, so it was simplified. So Krishna was made. He was brought into Brahmanism, and he was made an avatar of Vishnu later. And Vaishnavism completely absorbed Bhagavatism by the Gupta period, so that Krishna became an avatar of Vishnu. This is the gist of this topic. Did you understand? Hello, all of you. Bhagavatism. So yeah, Sunny. So this is Krishna. He was from that area called Mathura. So he was along with a person called Gobala. So I have given the information here. Go through it. Just hold on. So he was. So he was existing along with a person called Gobala, right? And slowly he became a hero in that area. The story of his dalliances with various gopis, etc., was a later day construct. So Krishna, he would play with the gopis. He will steal butter, curd, etc. Those were all later day construct. So he was a hero of the Yadu or Yadava clan of the Mathura region. He became a leader of the religious movement known as styled Bhagavat. All those details I've given you here. Go through it, right? So these are the inscriptional evidence, the literary evidence as regards the worship of Krishna. Am I there with you? All of you clear? Hello. Later we have something called the Pancharatra cult, which began. Later we have something called the Pancharatra cult. You know the story of Krishna, right? We have Krishna was a son of Devaki. Nanda. No, he was a son of what was his father's name? Vasudeva. Yeah, Vasudeva. So he was a son of Vasudeva and Devaki, right? And the uncle Kamsa wanted to kill him. Therefore, he was smuggled out of the jail. And then you have Nanda and Yashoda. Who brought him up. So Vasudeva and Devaki were his real parents. His foster parents, that is those who brought him up, these became his foster parents, Nanda and Yashoda. Later he killed Kamsa. He killed his uncle Kamsa, right? And he belonged to the Yadava dynasty, Yadava clan. Therefore, he is called Yadunandan. Krishna is called Yadunandan because he belonged to the Yadava clan, and he was a disciple of three great sages, Angirasa, Ghora, and Sandipani. Krishna's philosophy is contained in the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is the sixth book in the Mahabharata. This is the sixth book out of the 12 books in the Mahabharata. Bhagavad Gita is the sixth book of the Mahabharata, written by Veda Vyas, of course. And here we have the philosophy of Krishna. Philosophy of Krishna is contained in this. So what is the gist of the philosophy? His advice to Arjuna: you do your duty. Don't be attached to the results. Just do your duty. Finish the syllabus for UPSC. That is your duty. Practice the questions, etc. And then you write the exam, but don't be attached to the result. Because if you're destined to get it, you'll get it. So if you have that attitude, then you'll do very well in the exam. There'll be less pressure on your brain. Okay, so do your duty, leave the rest to God. So now what is Pancharatra cult? So this is a ritualism. And gradually it became ritualistic. And that ritualistic part of Bhagavatism is called Pancharatra cult. Pancharatra literally translates to 7 nights. Panch is Panch, Ratra is night. So what is this Pancharatra cult? Pancharatra cult is nothing but worship of Krishna and the 4 Yadava heroes. Worship of Krishna along with the 4 Yadava heroes. So what is Pancharatra cult? Pancharatra cult. So we worship Vasudeva Krishna. Vasudeva Krishna is worshipped. This is number 1. Then he had an elder brother, you all know that, Balarama. He's also called Vyuha Sankarshana. Vyuha Sankarshana. He is worshipped in this Pancharatra cult. Or Balram, the elder brother of Krishna, Balarama. Then we have the worship of Samba. Who is Samba? Samba is the son born to Vasudeva Krishna and Jambavati. Jambavati was one of his wives. So the son born to Krishna and Jambavati is Samba. Number 4 is Pradyumna. We worship Pradyumna. That is son born to Vasudeva Krishna and Rukmini. And then of course we have Aniruddha. Aniruddha. That is the son of Pradyumna and grandson of Krishna. Grandson of Vasudeva Krishna. When we worship all these things, when all these heroes were worshipped, it is called Pancharatra cult. It's called Pancharatra cult. So these details are there here. Go through it. This is about Bhagavatism. Are you there with me? Now here, please understand. Bhagavatism was later absorbed by Vaishnavism. Understand this? Bhagavatism was later absorbed by Vaishnavism. So Vaishnavism became very, very popular. Vaishnavism. And Bhagavatism became a part of Vaishnavism. And Krishna became an avatar of Vishnu. Now we have a powerful movement began in South India in the Pallava period. So Bhakti movement, understand this, Bhakti has a movement, begins in South India during the Pallava period. So Pallavas of Kanchipuram. So Bhakti as a movement began under them. And during their period, during the Pallava period, we have the Vaishnava saints. They were called Alvars. Alvars. So there were 12 Alvars, totally 12 in number. Tirumalaisai Alvar, Andal, Nam Alvar, etc. These are all the Alvars. They composed devotional literature in Tamil language in praise of Vishnu. So they composed poems in praise of Vishnu. They are called Prabandhas. Prabandhas. So they wrote Prabandhas, that is Tamil poems in praise of Vishnu. Even now in the Vaishnava temples of Tamil Nadu, the poems composed by the Alvars, the Prabandhas, are sung by the priests. So this is Alvars. Then we have, of course, Vaishnavism was taken to across the sea by a person called Kaundinya. So he was from India, Kaundinya. So this Kaundinya went to Indonesia, that is Suvarna Dvipa, and married a local princess, a Javan princess. She was a princess of Java by name Susa. So he marries her and introduced Vaishnavism in Indonesia. And the biggest Vishnu temple, historically, the biggest Vishnu temple is not in India, it is in Cambodia. That is the Angkor Wat, built by Suryavarman II of Cambodia. So the biggest Vishnu temple is outside India. So Alvars were the Vaishnava saints, mind you, Vaishnava saints of Tamil Nadu. And then we have the Acharyas. Acharyas, Vaishnava Acharyas. I'll write V in short, Vaishnava Acharyas, because of space, lack of space. I'm writing V Acharyas. Vaishnava Acharyas. Vaishnava Acharyas were the teachers, the philosophers of Vaishnavism, like Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, Nimbaraka, okay, so Vallabhacharya. These are all the acharyas, and they came out with a number of philosophies. Like for example, Ramanujacharya, Vishishta Advaita, Madhvacharya, Dvaitavada, Vallabhacharya, Shuddha Advaita, Nimbaraka, Dvaita Advaita. So all these philosophy topics we will do when I do philosophy topic. Are you there with me? Archaeological evidence, I told you, Dipesh. Archaeological evidence is the inscriptional evidence. The base Nagar pillar inscription installed by Heliodorus, the ambassador sent by the Indo-Greek king Antiochus to the court of Bhagabhadra Kasipura, the sixth king of the Sungas. That is the earliest inscriptional evidence we have regarding worship of Krishna. So this is about Bhagavatism. Are you there with me? Please raise your hands. Are you there with me? Okay. So we'll take a small break and come back. We have Shaivism also to do. I'll just finish off Shaivism in after the break, and we'll start with Mauryan art. I'm going to skip Harappan, town planning, etc. Harappan civilization has been covered in detail when I did ancient India. I had told you also when I did ancient India, Harappan civilization. I'm not going to discuss the town planning, culture of the Harappans, etc. when I come to art and architecture, because I've already covered it there. Now, those people who have missed Harappan chapter, you pick up the recorded version. You read the recorded version, go to the recorded version. All the details I have discussed there. So we'll take a small break now. 10 minutes break is fine. Yeah, Krishna is an avatar of Vishnu. Praying of Shivalinga is considered as idol worship or not? Of course, praying to Shivalinga is considered to be idol worship. Okay, we'll come back here. What's the time on your watch? 7:51 now. We'll meet at what time? 7:84. We'll meet at 8:4. 8:05. We'll meet at 8:05. Okay, Zeba, 8:05. We'll meet at 8:05. 8 o'clock. 8 past 5 a.m. We'll meet at this time. Come back. And then we'll start with Mauryan art. Pillars, stupas, etc. We'll do that. Carry on. Good morning. Good morning once again. All of you are back. Am I audible and visible? Can we start? Rather, can we continue? Okay. So I have covered Buddhism, Jainism, and then Bhagavatism and Shaivism. So let us talk about Shaivism. Let's talk about Shaivism. You see, Shaivism is the oldest faith in India, the native faith of India, the oldest sect in India is Shaivism, the oldest sect in India, native faith of India. Pashupati Mahadeva of the Harappans became Rudra in the Vedic period, and then from Rudra arose the concept of Shiva. So you can see an arrow mark here. Pashupati Mahadeva became Rudra for the Aryans, and then later became Shiva. And the concept of Shiva becomes popular from the Gupta period onwards. So from Gupta period onwards, we have the worship of Shiva. Now, Shiva is worshipped in the form of Lingakara, that is in the form of a Linga. And from 1st century AD, he has been worshipped in the form of Linga. The oldest Shiva Linga, according to Archaeological Survey of India, the oldest Shiva Linga is from this village called Gudimellam in the Renigunta district of Andhra Pradesh. So I have mentioned here Gudimellam, near Renigunta in Andhra Pradesh. It is dated 56 AD. So it belongs to the 1st century AD, about 56 AD, the oldest Shivalinga in India. And we have the sacred mantra Panchakshari, that is Namah Shivaya. Namah Shivaya, this is first found in the Tamil epic Shilapatikaram. The Tamil epic or Tamil book Shilapatikaram is the first to mention the Panchakshari, Namah Shivaya, written by Ilango Adigal. So the Shilapatikaram was written by Ilango Adigal. So just as we have the Vaishnava saints of Tamil Nadu, we have the Tamil saints of Tamil Nadu, the Shaiva saints of Tamil Nadu. They were called Nayanmars. So during the Pallava period in Tamil Nadu, we have the Nayanmars, Shaiva saints called Nayanmars or Nayanars. They are called Nayanmars. 63 of them. So 12 Alvars were there, 63 Nayanmars were there. Shaiva saints. They are the Shaiva saints. Shaiva saints. They worshipped Shiva and they composed devotional poetry in Tamil language called Dravida Veda or Tevaram. Tevaram, also called Dravida Veda. Even now, in the temples of the Shiva temples of Tamil Nadu, poems from the Tevaram or Dravida Veda are sung by the priests. So there were 63 Shaiva saints. They composed devotional literature in Tamil language called Tevaram. This is in Tamil language. Right? Then we have, of course, the Shaiva sects, extreme Shaiva sects and moderate Shaiva sects. Extreme Shaiva sects are those saints who practice many things which they claim Shiva to be doing. Like, for example, these are the Pashupata, the Kalamukha, the Gorakhnathis, the Kanfata yogis, the Aghoris, the Naga sadhus. These are all examples of extreme Shaiva sects. You can see here on your screen. Pashupata sect founded by Lakulisa, popular in North India. Kashmir Shaivism, founded by Vasugupta. Found only in Kashmir, this is Agamanta, Mattamayura, Kalamukha, Aghori. So there are a number of extreme Shaiva sects. They believe that Shiva does all these things and they also do that. Aghoris, I'll use another page. Aghoris, Kanfata yogis. So as the name suggests, they should slit their ears. Kan is ear in Hindi. Fata is, fadne ka, tear it up. So it was cut. The slit was made. The ear was slit. So Kanfata yogis, Aghoris, Naga sadhus. So apart from Pashupata, Kapalika, Kalamukha. These are all the extreme Shaiva sects. So they smear their body with ashes. Shiva is supposed to smear his body with ashes. He's supposed to stay in the graveyard. So these people also, many of them stay in the graveyards. Then they, many are fakes. That's also there. Many are fakes, but many of them, or most of them, are strictly following uh, these yogic practices. They perform yogic practices. For example, the Naga sadhus, thousands of them, lakhs of them come and fall in the Ganga, during the Kumbh Mela. They come and take bath in the Ganga. They are naked, and you see many of the people pray to these Naga sadhus. Many of them have yogic powers, psychic powers, yogic powers, etc. So these are the extreme Shaiva sects. Then we have the acharyas, the Shaiva acharyas, who founded a number of schools. Acharyas, for example, we have Shiva Advaita or Suddha Shaiva, founded by Srikanta Shivacharya in South India, particularly Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Veera Shaiva or Lingaitism, founded by Basaveshwara in Karnataka. So he was a 12th century reformer, from Karnataka. And so he was a Brahmin. He was actually minister in the kingdom of Bijjalaraya. So a 12th century king called Bijjalas, the Kalachuris of Bijjala, and he was serving as a finance minister in that kingdom. And every evening, Basaveshwara, he would give discourses. He will give talks. So he spoke about social equality, gender equality. He didn't believe in all these corruptions like sati, dowry, untouchability. He wanted the women to be treated on par with males, including property rights being given to women. So every day he would give discourses, and the teachings of Basaveshwara became what is known as Lingaitism or Veerashaivism. So he said that God is there within each one of us. So the body itself is like a temple, and it should be worshipped. It should be taken care of carefully, because God or Shiva resides inside each one of us. So these are some of the teachings. He was a social religious reformer. Maybe I'll give you a note on Basaveshwara. I'll give you a note. Remind me. I'll send a note across. So of course, Aradhya Shaiva, founded by Mallikarjuna Pandita in Andhra Pradesh. So these are some of the Shaiva Acharyas. So Shaiva saints are different. Shaiva Acharyas are different. Shaiva saints are called Nayanars. 63 Shaiva saints. Acharyas were the various Shaiva teachers who brought out their own philosophies. So this is the end of this chapter. Yeah, cultural idol of Karnataka, Stephen. Okay, fine. So let us come to the next chapter, the art and architecture. Art and architecture. So here, we look at the questions later. Art and architecture. I have discussed Harappan civilization, the town planning of the Harappans. Every town was divided into two parts. Citadel area, lower town. Harappans gave a lot of importance to health and cleanliness, underground drainage system. So all these things we have discussed. Then, of course, various other aspects of their culture, society, economy, religious practices of the Harappans, trade and commerce, then small-scale industries, burial practices, seals, what are Harappan seals, Harappan script. So all these things I have discussed apart from the important cities like Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, what all have been found there, the technique of bronze making, or what is known as lost wax technique or sir perdu method of bronze images, which was cast by the Harappans. So all these things I have discussed. Lothal, the only artificial dockyard of the Harappans, through which they used to trade with Mesopotamia, Bahrain, etc. So all those things I've discussed. So I'll not be discussing Harappan civilization now. So those people who have missed, again I repeat, go back to the Ancient India PPTs, recorded version, listen to that chapter, Indus civilization, and all these things are covered there. So I'll be skipping that. Directly we'll go to Mauryan art. I have also discussed the questions, so I'll not be discussing the questions also. Are you there with me? All of you, are you clear? Let us directly go to Mauryan art. All of you, can you raise your hands? So those people who have missed Indus civilization, please go to the PPTs of Ancient India, Indus chapter. So let us go to Mauryan art. So from the Mauryan period onwards, understand this, from the Mauryan period onwards, we have the beginning of the usage of stone. So Mauryas were the first to introduce stone in architecture. They began to use stones. So what is the reason for that? What is the reason as to why the Mauryas began to use stone in architecture? Number one, main reason is influence of Achaemenid Persia. Influence of Achaemenid Persia. So we have a dynasty called the Achaemenid dynasty which ruled Persia. Persia is Iran. Persia is the old name for Iran. What we now call Iran, those days was called Persia. So we have a dynasty which ruled Persia, that is the Achaemenid dynasty. So influence of Achaemenid Persia. And what was the capital of the Achaemenid dynasty? What was the capital of the Achaemenid dynasty? Persepolis. The capital of the Achaemenid dynasty was Persepolis. Persepolis. Then, of course, we have what is the other reason for the usage of stone by the Mauryas? Denudation of forests in the Indo-Gangetic basin. That is deforestation. Deforestation in the Ganga-Yamuna basin. GY basin. So deforestation in the Ganga-Yamuna basin. There was dearth of wood, shortage of wood. So therefore, they began to use stone. But the main reason is this: influence of Achaemenid Persia. So I have done this chapter, in the ancient India, pre-Maurya period, Persian and Greek invasion and their effects on India. So there was a Persian king called Darius the First in 516 BC. He conquered a few parts of India, northwest India, Punjab, Sindh, northwest frontier province, and the Persians ruled over this area for more than 200 years. This have an impact. Do you remember all those things? So we connect the dots here. You connect the dots and then you'll understand. Okay, so that is the reason why the lessons also have been structured like this: ancient, medieval, then art and culture. So we'll come back here. Influence of Achaemenid Persia. Now, and deforestation in the Indo-Gangetic basin. Now, Mauryan art is divided into two parts. As you can see on your screen, Mauryan art is divided into two sections: court art and popular art. What is court art? Court art is that art which only a king or the government can afford. Only the king or the government can afford such a art. Therefore, it's called court art. So what are the examples of court art? We have palaces, Mauryan palaces. We have pillars of Ashoka, the lots of Ashoka. Pillars are called lat or lots of Ashoka. Then we have stupas and viharas. So palaces, pillars, stupas, and viharas. These come under the category of court art. Only the king or the government could afford building a palace, installing a pillar, building a stupa, and also vihara, digging up a cave called a vihara, where the monks used to take rest. So vihara is a monastery. Vihara is a monastery. And what is popular art? Popular art is that art which common people like you and me followed during the Mauryan period. For example, a group of people will join together and then they will collect donations, they will collect money, and then they will install an image or a murti or a sculpture. That's called popular art. So this is in the form of installing images by the public, installing idols, images by the public or by merchant guilds, etc. Like, for example, during Ganapati festival, Ganesh festival, the boys in your area, they'll come asking for donation. They want to install a community Ganesh idol in your area, in your street or in the adjoining street. So you give money, some donation you make, and they'll collect all such donations and they'll install one idol. That is called popular art. Did you understand? Popular art, court art. Now, let us discuss each and every aspect of this court art. Palaces. First, we'll discuss palaces, right? Then we'll discuss pillars of Ashoka, the different parts of a pillar. Okay, what are the type of stones used? Difference between Ashokan pillar or Mauryan pillar and Persian pillar. Then we'll discuss stupa. How does a stupa look like? What are the different parts of a stupa? What is the symbolic significance of a stupa? We'll discuss all those things. And vihara, monasteries. So we'll discuss and then we'll come to popular art. So that will terminate Mauryan art. Then we can go to post-Maurya period, post-Mauryan art. So we'll come back here and open a page. First of all, let us talk about Mauryan palaces. Mauryan palaces. Number one, palaces. Now, when it comes to palaces, Mauryan palaces, none of the palaces have survived. Understand this? None of the palaces have survived. Why? Because they were made of wood. Mauryan palaces were initially made of wood, and therefore they have not survived. Because wood is perishable by nature. So it decomposes over a period of time. However strong a wood is, even teak wood will decay, disintegrate over a period of time. So none of the palaces of the Mauryas have survived because they were made of wood. But then we have references to these palaces in the writings of contemporary Greek and Roman writers. So contemporary writers, contemporary Greek and Roman writers may refer to these palaces, make references to these palaces, make references to these palaces. For example, we have Megasthenes. Megasthenes, in his book Indica, tells us, of course, you know, the Indica was lost, but then we have various Greek and Roman writers like Arrian, Strabo, Diodorus. They extensively quote from the Indica. So indirectly, we come to know what Megasthenes had written in the Indica. So what does it tell us, Megasthenes? He tells us in his book Indica that he had seen the wooden palace built by Chandragupta Maurya at Pataliputra. So at Pataliputra, Chandragupta Maurya, I'll use the word short form, Chandragupta Maurya, CGM, he had built a wooden palace. And this wooden palace was very, very beautiful, according to Megasthenes. He says that this wooden palace was more beautiful. The wooden palace at Pataliputra, built by Chandragupta, was more beautiful than the palaces of, than the Persian palaces, at Susa, Persepolis. Persepolis was the capital of the Achaemenid rulers of Persia. So Achaemenid dynasty capital was Persepolis. So it was more beautiful than the Persian palaces at Susa, Persepolis, and Ekbatana. So this is what Megasthenes tells us, that the Mauryan palace built by Chandragupta Maurya, the wooden palace at Pataliputra, was more beautiful than the Persian palaces at Susa, Persepolis, and Ekbatana. These are all places in the erstwhile Persian Empire. Susa, Persepolis, Ekbatana, names of places, right? Then Megasthenes also tells us that there was a fire accident. And this wooden palace built by Chandragupta Maurya at Pataliputra burned down. So it got burnt because of a fire accident. Later, at the same spot, a stone palace was built by Ashoka. So Ashoka built a stone palace exactly on that spot where a wooden palace stood. Ashoka built a stone palace. Okay, fine, Soumya. Green is not right, not visible, is it? This dark green is okay. Dark green is okay, Soumya. Okay, Stephen. Okay, so just manage those two sentences. I'll not repeat it. More beautiful than Persian palaces at Susa, Persepolis, Ekbatana. So Ashoka, is it fine? Dark green is okay, Soumya? Okay, great. So Ashoka built a stone palace at Patliputra, the same spot where a wooden palace stood. Right. And we have Fahian, who visited India in the Gupta period. He came to India 600 years later, after the end of the Mauryas. So after 600 years after the end of the Mauryas, Fahian visited India, and Fahian tells us that he saw the stone palace of Ashoka. Fahian, in his travelogue, tells us that he saw the stone palace built by Ashoka at Patliputra, and Fahian tells us that probably it was made by spirits. It was so beautiful. The stone palace was so beautiful that it was probably made by spirits. Made by spirits. That's what he says. Now, please understand the wooden palace which burned down at Patliputra. We have the remains of this wooden palace at Kumbrahar near Patna. So we have a place called Kumbrahar near Patna, Bihar. And we have found the remains of this wooden palace at Kumbrahar near Patna. Right? So stone palace was built at Patliputra by Ashoka, and Fahian had seen it. And he says it was more beautiful, very, very beautiful, made by spirits. In fact, Megasthenes, I forgot to mention, tells us about the wooden palace at Patliputra, built by Chandragupta Maurya, that it had 640 gates, 640 towers. It had 640 towers and 64 gates. So it had 640 towers and 64 gates, according to Megasthenes. This wooden palace built by Chandragupta Maurya. Of course, the stone palace also, in course of time, disintegrated, the stone palace. And we have the stone palace. The remains of the stone palace are also found at Kumbrahar. Remains of stone palace also found at Kumbrahar. Right. So this is about palaces, Mauryan palaces. None of the palaces have survived. We only have references to these palaces in the writings of contemporary Greek and Roman scholars, writers. So this is about Mauryan palaces. Okay. Now let us come to the next aspect. You see here on your screen, we have discussed palace already. We have discussed palace. Then let us come to pillars of Ashoka. Let us come to pillars of Ashoka. Pillars. Pillars of Ashoka. Pillars. They are called lots of Ashoka. Pillars. And these pillars are found in the midst of habitations. Now, Ashoka got it installed in the midst of habitations. His aim was to see that maximum number of people are able to read whatever he had got written on those pillars. And we also come to know the extent of the Mauryan Empire from such pillars, how big the Mauryan Empire was. Now, a Mauryan pillar would look something like this. So here, first of all, let me draw the picture of the Persian pillar. So how did the Persians make a pillar? It looked like this, Persian pillar. I'm sure you can draw better than me, all of you, but then please tolerate my drawing. This is just to make you understand. These are grooves. These are stone pillars. And on top you have the capital. So on top here, you have a capital. You have the capital. And we have humans or animals or composite creatures depicted on top of these pillars. Composite creatures. What is composite creatures? Mythical creatures, mythical animals depicted. For example, a crouching lion, but that lion has the face of a man, but the body of a lion. Or you could have a horse with wings. Horse is shown galloping, but with it has wings. These are all imaginary mythical animals. So you could have either humans or animals or composite creatures. And this was made of this was made of stone. These were stone pillars. They were polished. They were polished, and they shine like mirrors. And this had a foundation also. Forgot to mention, it had a foundation. So this foundation was embedded inside the earth. So it was inside the earth, this foundation. And Persian Persian pillars were the part of a palace. So they were supporting the ceiling. They were supporting the ceiling of a palace, or they were installed on top of their palaces. Installed on top of palaces, has independent structures supporting the ceiling of a palace, the roof of a palace, or installed on top of the palaces. Right? This is how a Persian pillar looks like. So the Mauryas borrowed the idea of using stone from the Persians. Now let us draw the picture of a made by spirits. That is these the wooden palace. The stone palace built by Ashoka at Patliputra, according to Fahian, says that it was made by spirits. Demigods. Spirits are demigods. We'll come back here. Now, how does a Ashokan pillar look like? So don't take my drawing seriously. I'll show you the real drawing in some time. But then I'll make you understand. At least I would say the picture will make you understand. So how does an Ashokan pillar look like? An Ashokan pillar will look something like this. Slightly tapering to the top. It doesn't have a foundation, so it has been installed on the ground. It doesn't have a foundation underneath the pillar. Then an Ashokan pillar has 3 parts. You can see here, this is an inverted lotus. This is an inverted lotus. So you take the lotus flower and put it ulta. So it's called inverted lotus. Inverted lotus. It is also called Persepolitan bell. Persepolitan bell. So this was Persepolis was the capital of the Persian emperors. So this is a design copied from the Persians, Persepolitan bell or inverted lotus, right? On top of the inverted lotus, we have the Dharma Chakra of Ashoka. Mind you, this is a round pillar. So imagine this is a round pillar like this. So it has chakras like this. 4 corners, 4 chakras are there. And around the chakra, between 2 chakras, you have some animals. Between 2 chakras, totally 4 chakras. Between 2 chakras, you have 1 animal each. Elephant, lion, horse, and bull. ELHB, elephant, lion, horse, and bull. And this part of the Ashokan pillar is called an abacus. This is called an abacus. This is called an abacus. So abacus consists of the Dharma Chakra in relief with 4 animals, elephant, lion, horse, and bull. Then on top of that Dharma Chakra, we have either one, understand this, either one or 4 lions, or 1 elephant, or 1 horse, or 1 bull. On top of the Dharma Chakra of Ashoka, we have, let's say, 1 elephant, 1 horse, or 1 bull. So let us say this is the animal here. This is the animal. Okay, so let us say this is the animal. Together, this is called capital. These 3 things. You have these 3. This together is called capital. So capital, Ashokan capital, Like Sarnath lion capital of Ashoka is our national emblem. So here you can see it has a inverted lotus or a bell-shaped lotus. That's called a Persepolton bell. Then on top of that, you have an abacus, which consists of the Dharma Chakra and 4 animals. And then you have on top 1 or 4 lions, as seen at Sanchi and Sarnath, 1 elephant, 1 horse, or 1 bull. Okay, together that is known as capital. Now, this pillar is called a shaft or a column. This is the shaft or the column. It is 30 to 40 feet in height. It is 30 to 40 feet in height and 30 to 40 tons in weight. This capital, which consists of 3 parts, this is about 10 feet in height and 10 tons in weight. So when you add the total length of the pillar and the total weight, it is about 40 to 50 feet in height and 40 to 50 tons in weight. Did you get me? So the height of the shaft or column is about 30 to 40 feet and weight is about 30 to 40 tons. Whereas the height of the capital, which consists of 3 parts, Persepolton bell, abacus, and then the animal or animals on top. Together it's called capital. So the capital is about 10 feet in height and 10 tons in weight. Totally 40 to 50 feet in height, 40 to 50 feet in 50 tons in weight. And whatever Ashoka wanted to convey to his people, he got it written on top of these pillars. So from a distance, you can read that. So from a distance, you can read what he was trying to convey. These are the various parts of an Ashokan pillar, and these were highly polished. Like the Persian pillar was polished, the Mauryan stone pillar was also polished. And generally, Ashoka used 2 stones to make his pillars. That is, so you have 2 stones he used, spotted red and white sandstone, spotted red and white sandstone from Mathura. So this was from Mathura, spotted red and white sandstone from Mathura, and the hard sandstone from Chunar, near Banaras. So Chunar is near Banaras, Varanasi. So spotted red and white sandstone from Mathura and hard sandstone from Chunar near Banaras. I'm coming to that. Siddhanta, just hold on. I'll come to that. Yes, it is monolithic. The shaft is monolithic, definitely monolithic. The shaft or the column. Sham, nothing has about later Vedic architecture. Nothing remains except a few burial mounds. We don't have anything else remaining from the later Vedic period, or even for that matter the pre-Maurya period. Hardly any archaeological sources we have. Of course, in the scriptures we have references to palaces. Obviously, we can presume they were made of wood, right? Sham. So we'll come back here. Spotted red and white sandstone from Mathura, hard sandstone from Chunar near Banaras. Now, what we notice, the shaft of the column looks similar throughout the Mauryan Empire. Wherever shafts or column have been found, they look similar. Whereas the capital looks different in different places. So historians believe that the shaft or column was made at one place. Shaft or column was probably made at Takshashila. It was made at Takshashila and distributed throughout the Mauryan Empire. Because shaft and column look similar. Shaft or column looks similar throughout the Mauryan Empire. So it was made at one place and distributed throughout the Mauryan Empire. So that speaks highly about the Mauryan transport and communication facilities. For them to shift these huge, heavy stones for such long distances speaks highly of their advancement in transport and communication facilities. So this is number 1. Shaft and column was probably made at Takshashila, whereas the capital was made locally. So capitals look different in different places. So they were made locally. Are you there with me? Yeah, I have answered your question, Sham. There might have been palaces in Hastinapur, Indraprastha, etc. But then they must be wooden palaces, and they are found in the scriptures, in the literature. But then they have not remained because they were made of wood, like the early Mauryan palaces. So this is how an Ashokan pillar looks like. And these are the various parts of an Ashokan pillar. Shaft, column, then I've told you inverted lotus, then abacus, and then capital, together known as capital. So let us come to the real picture. You can see here, this is the, look at here on your screen. This is the picture of an Ashokan pillar. This is the, this is the shaft or the column. This is the abacus, you know this. Sorry, this is the inverted lotus. The inverted lotus or Persepolitan bell. This is the abacus, consists of with Dharma Chakra. Chakra is there of Ashoka, and of course, 4 animals: elephant, lion, horse, bull. Then these are 4 back lines at Sanchi and Sarnath. Only at Sanchi and Sarnath we have 4 lions standing back to back. And this together is called capital. This together is called capital. Are you clear? Surya, don't take my drawing seriously. I told you, whatever I could draw, I have drawn. So, so you can see the real picture here, inverted lotus, then the abacus with 4 animals and 4 dharma chakras in the 4 corners, shaft or column. So look at another picture here on your screen. This is the shaft or column. Shaft or column. This is the Persepolitan bell, the abacus. Then we have the sculpture of lions, 4 lions, and together this is called capital. In the original, Ashokan pillars, I believe there was a metal wheel on top. On top of the lions, there was a metal wheel that has fallen off. That has fallen off. Right? This is about Ashokan pillar. Now, let us make a chart. Let's make a chart and see the difference between, so let us look at the important capitals. Look, then you take down here, important capitals. Important capitals. Important capitals of Ashoka. What are the important capitals? So what are the important? Number 1, Sanchi. So I'll be taking the help of my notes. So with your due permission, Sanchi. So at Sanchi, we have 4 lions. Sanchi, we have 4 lions. 4 lions at Sanchi. Sanchi is near Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. Sanchi, Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. 4 lions are there. Don't draw metal wheel, Surya. There's no metal wheel now. Historians, archaeologists say there was a metal wheel on top, but it has fallen off. So don't draw a metal wheel. So Sanchi, 4 lions. Then we have Sarnath. Number 2, Sarnath. Where is Sarnath? This is in Varanasi, UP. Varanasi, UP. Again, this has 4 lions. 4 lions at Sarnath. Then number 3, Rampurva. Rampurva. Rampurva is in Bihar, as you know. Rampurva, Champaran district of Bihar. There are 2 pillars found here. 2 pillars found. One with the bull capital. One with bull capital. One with bull capital, and the other with a single lion capital. Single lion capital. So Sanchi 4 lines, Sarnath 4 lines, Rampurwa 2 pillars, one with bull capital, another with single lion capital. Then we have number 4, Lumbini. Lumbini, birthplace of the Buddha, also called Rumindai. Rumindai. Rumindi. Rumindi. So here we are told that there was a horse capital, according to Hyun Sang. Horse capital, according to Hyun Sang. Hyun Sang tells us that at Lumbini there was a horse capital, right? Then we have other capitals. We'll talk about it. Vaishali. Vaishali, number 5. Vaishali. This is a single lion capital. Single lion capital. Vaishali in Bihar. Single lion capital. Then Lauria Nandangarh. Number 6. Lauria Nandangarh. Again, this is in Bihar. Lauria Nandangarh. In Bihar, single lion capital. Single lion capital. Number 7, Sankissa in UP. Sankissa. Sankissa in UP. There's elephant capital. Elephant capital, Sankissa. Then these 4 places, we have no capitals. What are the 4 places? Kandahar. Kandahar in Afghanistan, as you all know. Afghanistan. So without any capital, no capital. Then we have Rani Ghat. This is in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Khyber, Khy. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Pakhtunkhwa. No capital here. Again, no capital here. Then, of course, we have Allahabad and Amaravati. Allahabad and Amaravati. No capital. In these 4 places, we do not have any capitals. No capital. Okay, so these are the important capitals of Ashoka. Important capitals of Ashoka. Sanchi 4 lines, Sarnath 4 lines, Rampurwa 2 pillars, one with bull capital, one with single lion capital. Lumbini, birthplace of the Buddha, horse capital according to Hyun Sang. Vaishali, single lion capital. Lauri Nandangarh, single lion. Sankissa, elephant. There are no capitals in these 4 places. Kandahar, Ranighat, Allahabad, Amaravati. Rampurwa is in Bihar. Satyam. Rampurwa is in Bihar. Lauria Nandangarh, Lauria Araraj, Rampurwa. These are all in Bihar. Okay, now let us make another chart and look at the difference between. Let us look at the difference between Ashokan pillar and Mauryan pillar. So you make a heading, draw a heading. Ashokan pillar or Mauryan pillars. And right, and then of course, and Persian pillars or Achaemenid pillars. Achaemenid pillars. So that should be a heading. And let us look at the similarities first of all, then the differences. What are the similarities? Similarities. Number 1, So this is the Amaravati in Andhra. Amaravati in Andhra, not Maharashtra. Shubham, Amaravati in Andhra. So I forgot to mention that. Amaravati in Andhra. AP. Okay. So let us look at the similarities. Number one, both were made of stone. Number one, similarities between Ashokan and Persian pillars, both made of stone. Stone made, okay. So both have glossy finish. Both have glossy finish or glossy polish You can add glossy polish. Then both have bell-shaped portion. Both have bell-shaped design. So both have bell-shaped portion. Then capitals are there on both. Capitals present in both. Okay, so these are the similarities. So made of stone, glossy polish found on both, bell-shaped portion is present in both, and capitals are present in both. Next paragraph. On this basis, historians like V.A. Smith, Vincent A. Smith, believe that Ashokan pillars were mere imitation of Persian pillars. That Ashokan pillars were mere imitation of Persian pillars. Historians like V.A. Smith believe that Ashokan pillars were mere imitation of Persian pillars. Okay, now let us look at the differences. So you make a chart like this. You make a chart like this. So Mauryan pillar or Ashokan pillar and Persian pillar. Number one. Number two, like this. So Mauryan pillar. Shaft is monolithic. Somebody asked me, is this monolithic? Shaft is monolithic, made of one piece of stone. Shaft is monolithic. So, on the basis of these similarities, historians like V.A. Smith believed that Ashokan pillars were mere imitation of Persian pillars. Okay, Dipesh. He thought it was a mere imitation of Persian pillars. Vincent A. Smith, a British historian. Mauryan Persian pillars, shaft is made of a number of stones. Okay, shaft made of a number of stones. It is not monolithic, in other words. Number two, outer surface of shaft is smooth. Outer surface of shaft is smooth in an Ashokan pillar, whereas outer surface has grooves. You can see here, outer surface has grooves. I have drawn this, just hold on. I should have put a picture there. I should have drawn that. See, these are called grooves. These are the grooves. There are holes in between. In Persian pillars, there are holes in the pillars, grooves. They are called grooves. Right? So, outer surface has grooves. Number three. Let us look at number three. Bell is only at the top. Bell only at the top. That is the Persepolitan bell in Ashokan pillar. Whereas in Persian pillar, bell found both at top and bottom, top and base. Bell found both at the top and base. Yeah, you can add that. Found, I'm coming to that. Number 3. Number 4. Number 4, Ashokan pillars placed on the ground without any foundation. Without any foundation. Whereas you have a foundation. So, Persian pillars were placed on a bell-shaped portion. Placed on a bell-shaped portion. Placed on a bell-shaped portion. Then number 5. Number 5, this is Mauryan pillar. Persian pillars. So number 5 is what? Here, were used for inscribing the edicts, royal orders. Used for inscribing edicts. Whereas Persian pillars used for supporting the roof. Used for supporting the roof or ceiling. Number 6 were independent constructions. Ashokan pillars were independent constructions. Were independent constructions, whereas Persian pillars were part of a palace. Number 7, Ashokan pillars only animal capital is depicted. Only animals depicted on capitals. Persian pillars, humans, animals, and mythical creatures, composite creatures were depicted. Then you write, next paragraph, the fundamental differences between Ashokan pillars and Persian pillars, indicate that they were of different traditions. They were part of different traditions. These fundamental differences between Ashokan pillars and Persian pillars indicate that they were part of different traditions. Their conception, design, and purpose were different. Therefore, Ashokan pillars cannot be considered as a mere imitation of Persian pillars. What is 4th point? Mauryan pillars placed on the ground without any foundation. whereas Persian pillars had a bell-shaped portion, which was acting like a foundation. Yes, it was It was a huge, it was very heavy. So it doesn't require a foundation. Nobody can move it. Ashokan pillars. So 40 to 50 tons in weight. So you cannot move it. 1 ton is 1000 kgs. So we have 40 to 50 tons. So it doesn't require a foundation. Conclusion. The fundamental differences between Ashokan pillars and Mauryan pillars, Ashokan pillars and Persian pillars indicate they were part of different traditions. Indicate that they were part of different traditions. Their conception, design, and purposes were different. Their conception, design, and purposes were different. Therefore, Ashokan pillars cannot be accepted as mere imitation of Persian pillars. The Ashokan pillars cannot be accepted as mere imitation of Persian pillars. That's your conclusion. Shreyas, are you clear? Yeah, just revise, you'll understand. It's very easy. Revise and you'll understand. So we have discussed palaces. We have discussed pillars of Ashoka. Now let us come to stupa. Now look here on your screen. So we have discussed palaces of Ashoka. We have discussed this palace. We have discussed pillars of Ashoka. Right? Now let us come to stupas and then we'll come to vihara. Now, how does a stupa look like? Now, what's a stupa? We'll discuss that first of all. What's a stupa? Buddhist stupa. What's a stupa? Relics of Buddha. What are relics, Zeba? What are relics? Zeba is right, but what are relics? Okay, death remnants. Okay, so when Lord Buddha was, ashes, bones, etc. Very right, very good. So when Lord Buddha died, his body was burnt and the relics were collected. What are relics? Relics are ashes, bone, fingernails, hair, etc. They were all collected in an urn or a pot. So relics were collected in a pot like this, and it was divided into 8 portions. That means there were 8 pots, chota pots like this, 8 pots like this, and a semi-domical structure called a stupa was constructed, and deep buried inside the anda. You can see here, just hold on. So this is an anda. What's an anda? Anda is not that egg you're talking about. It refers to not chicken egg. Here this is anda, the green color dome. It's a solid core. It is not hollow. It's a solid dome. And deep buried inside the anda is a tabena. You can see here, this is a tabena. This is called a tabena. So inside the tabena, buried deep inside the anda is the relics of the Buddha. So that pot was kept inside the anda, in the midst of the anda, and then it was covered. So you cannot enter the tabena because the anda is not hollow. Now, what are the different parts of an Ashokan pillar? You can see on your screen. I would request you to go on YouTube and type Sanchi Stupa. You go on YouTube, type Sanchi Stupa, you'll get a few videos. You have a look at those videos at your leisure, not now, at your leisure. And then you'll come to know what are the different parts of a stupa. Now, a stupa may look something like this. I'll draw a picture. You see, this is the platform. And this is the stupa. Right? This is called an anda. It's a solid dome. You cannot enter the anda. Then this is called harmika. This is called a harmika. On top of which there's a chatra. This is called a yasti. There's a stick here. This stick is called yasti. This stick has, I'll come to that. and there are three umbrellas. There are three umbrellas like this, three umbrellas. That stick is called yasti. This stick is called yasti. This railing, you can see here railing. This is called a harmika, right? Then you have a gateway. In four corners, we have four gateways. It is like this. These are called toranas. Torana. So you enter the stupa through the torana. Torana is a gateway. I'll show you the picture. Just hold on. So you enter. You have galleries like this. You have steps. Steps. You climb from either direction. You climb. Then you reach a terrace level. You have a first floor. Okay, that is called Medhi level. यहाँ पे देखिए Medhi level. This is called a Medhi level. So this is the black color Medhi. I'll shade it. So you reach a first floor sort of a thing. That is called Medhi level. And you can go around the anda. You can take a pradakshina, a circumambulation of the anda. Okay, like in temples, Hindu temples, you take a circumambulation or pradakshina. And that pradakshina generally is either inside or outside, depending upon the style of temple building. So here in a stupa, you climb the stairs from either direction, and then you reach a first floor level, and you can take a pradakshina of the anda. So then, okay, so you have a compound wall here. You see here, you have a compound wall. So this is the compound wall. So this is the compound wall. Okay, this is the compound wall. This compound wall has three lines like this. Okay, three lines. Similarly, the Medhi level has three lines, right? Then you have a torana here. You have a torana here like this. You have a torana here like this. And there's another torana here like this. So four direction, four toranas. So this is called the yasti. This is the chatra. The three umbrellas, as you can see here, these are called chatras or three umbrellas. This dome is called anda. This is the Medhi level. These are the toranas. And this is the Vedika. Vedika is like a compound, Vedika. So you have a Vedika or compound wall, and this is also called a Vedika. The Medhi level, the gallery is called Vedika. Are you there with me? These are the various parts of a stupa. So it is considered an extension of the Vedic burial mound. In the Vedic period, when a dead man, when a person died, generally a king or a priest, an important person died, his body was buried, and a dome and a mound was constructed on top of that dead person's body. No, a mound. So this grew into the later day stupa, which was borrowed by the Buddhists. So stupa is a sacred place. It contains relics of the Buddha. So deep inside, you see here, deep inside, buried in the anda, is a tabena. This is called a tabena. And here you have the pot, which contains the relics of the Buddha. It contains the relics of the Buddha. This is the pot, which contains the relics of the Buddha. And since it is a solid dome, it is a solid core, you cannot reach the tabena, where the Buddha's relics have been kept. Early stupas contained the relics of the Buddha. Later stupas contained the relics of a bodhisattva. Early stupas contained the relics of the Buddha. Later stupas contained the relics of a bodhisattva. And on the walls of the Vedika, on the compound wall, at the Medhi level, you have another wall like a gallery. So on those walls of the Medhi level gallery, on the walls of the compound wall, and also on the toranas, the gateways, in the four directions, we have four gateways. We have beautiful sculptures drawn from the Jataka tales, that is the 555 previous births of the Buddha. Then important events connected with the life of the Buddha are depicted in sculptures. For example, Buddha going away from the palace, Mahabhinishkramana, the great departure of the Buddha. Miracles like Buddha walking on the river. Then Ashoka visiting the people tree. under which the Buddha attained nirvana. So all these are depicted, and of course you have animals like elephants, horse riders, horses, swans, peacock. All these are depicted on the Torana and the Vedika level. This is the stupa. So UPSC had asked a question: what is the symbolic significance of a stupa? So you draw the stupa, you name the various parts of a stupa, and you start explaining each symbolic significance, what the Buddhists consider as the symbolic representation of different parts of a stupa. And that should be your answer. So what is the symbolic significance of a stupa? I will talk about it. So my request to you is, after the class, whenever you're free, you go to the YouTube, on YouTube channel, and type Sanchi Stupa, and you'll get some videos, 3, 4 minutes, 5 minutes videos you get. You watch those videos, and you'll have an idea what type of a stupa, what is a stupa, in case you have not seen a stupa really. So here you can see these are the various sculptures on the Toranas. So you can see here on your screen, you see a picture of a stupa. So these are the Toranas. You can see in green color, these are the Toranas, gateways. These are the gateways. So 4 directions, 4 gateways are there. This is the compound wall. This is called a Vedika. This is called a Vedika. This is called a Torana. Torana, gateway. This is the Anda. Okay, the flattened dome. On top it is flat. So it's a flattened dome, a half dome. That's called an Anda. This gallery on top is called Harmika, as you can see. That stick is called Yasti, which contains 3 umbrellas, right? Then you have the upper walkway level. This is called the Medhi level. Medhi level. So you can take a pradakshana around the Anda. And then you have stairways. You can see stairways. So your staircases are there. You climb up and then reach the top of the base of the Anda. You reach the base of the Anda where you can take a pradakshana. Did you understand, all of you? So Vedika is the outer railing that is attached to outer gateway. You can have a Vedika at the ground level and also at the Medhi level. Okay, Satyam, you have a Vedika at the ground level, which is like a compound wall. Like every one of us are having a house. We are living in a house, and that has a compound. So what does it indicate? That this property is mine. Within the compound wall is my property. Outside, we are not bothered, right? It is the public property. Out inside is our property, private property. So this compound wall marks it off as a sacred place. Inside that compound wall is a sacred place, right? That's what it marks it off as. Are you there with me? Yeah, upper portion of Medhi we can go. That's why I told you, go on YouTube and take see a video. In my live classes, offline classes, I show the video on the big screen. But then I don't have that technology here in the studio. So what I am requesting all of you to do is go on YouTube and see that video of Sanchi Stupa built by Ashoka. All the parts of a stupa you will come to know how it looks like. The the layout of the stupa you come to know. Okay, so you can see here on your screen. Okay, this is another picture of a stupa. Green color is the Anda. Okay, the yellow color, you can see this yellow color with 3 lines, 3 horizontal lines. These are the Toranas, the gateway. So you have one Torana here, another Torana here, another Torana here. Then this is the Anda in green, Harmika is in red. In between the Harmika, in the middle, you have a stick that is called Yasti. This is the Yasti with 3 umbrellas called Chatra, right? Then you have this black color. This is called Medhi. So you have a terrace there. You can go around the Anda, and then this blue color line. This is the compound wall. So you have a Vedika here at the ground level, and you have a Vedika there at the first floor level. So if you go on top in a helicopter or a hot air balloon and you look down, a stupa will look like this. You can see here 4 gateways in the 4 corners, 4 toranas. Okay, then you have the green color Anda. This is the Harmika. These are the Chatras with the Yasti. The black color, you can see this black color. This is the Pradakshana Pata. You can take a Pradakshana around the Anda. And this blue color you can see around the stupa is the compound wall. So there's a Vedika here and the Vedika here at the ground level. Did you understand? Hello? Did you understand the different parts of a stupa, how a stupa looks like? Now you need to explain. Now we need to explain the symbolic significance of each of these parts. Symbolic significance of each of these parts, what the Buddhists consider. According to the Buddhists, what is the symbolic significance of each of these parts? Now look here on your screen. So this is another picture of the stupa. This is the Sanchi stupa, the great Sanchi stupa, built originally of bricks by Ashoka. Later, it was expanded to twice its original size by during the Sunga period. So it was covered in stone, originally made of bricks, then covered in stone during the Sunga period. The railings, the enclosure wall was made of bricks during the time of Ashoka. Later, it was covered, made of stones, right? So these are different parts of a stupa. We'll come back here. Now, what is the meaning of the anda? So there are three fundamental aspects of a stupa. The first is the anda. You can see that green color. This is the anda. So what is the significance of the anda? So anda is supposed to signify the mound of dirt which contains the relics of the Buddha. So it's a holy place, the stupa, and the anda signifies a mound of earth or a mound of dirt which contains the relics of the Buddha. Now, this anda has, in course of time, got a symbolic meaning. It refers to the mountain home of the gods at the center of the universe. That's what the Buddhists believe. It contains the relics of the Buddha. It has a solid core. So it contains it. So okay. So here the anda came to represent the center of the universe. Okay, it's supposed to be the mountain home of the gods at the center of the universe. So anda represents the mountain home of the gods. You can see here on your screen, the mountain home of the gods at the center of the universe. So this is where the gods reside, according to the Buddhists. The anda is the mountain home of the gods. So basically, please understand, stupa would be more of a Mahayana architectural feature. It's a more of a Mahayana architecture, not Hinayana. Hinayana is, of course, they worship the stupa. So it is both. I would say it is both. The death of the stupa, they worship the stupa. So relics of the stupa. So it's more of a Mahayana and a Hinayana. Both sects worship the stupa. So sorry for that. We'll come back here. So here, the anda represents the center of the universe, the home of the gods, the mountain home of the gods at the center of the universe. This is anda. Then we come to harmika, the red color. You can see on top the harmika. So what does it signify? So from a far distance, if you're walking towards the stupa, what do you get? What do you see first? You see the chatras and then you see the harmika. So that red color, whatever is there in red in the picture in before you. So harmika marks off that place as a sacred place, sacred site. It marks off that place as a sacred site. So when somebody sees the harmika, he'll get that feeling, he'll understand that this is a sacred place. So that's what is the meaning of harmika. Okay, then we have the yasti, the stick with three umbrellas. So what is the meaning of the yasti according to the Buddhists? Yasti is supposed to be the axis mundi, the pivot of the universe. It is considered to be the axis mundi, that is the center of the universe. The pivot around which, this is the pivot through which the divine descends down to earth and makes themselves accessible to humanity. Imagine this: you have a radio, and that radio has a, what do you call, the antenna. Okay, the radio has an antenna. So let us say you're listening to Vivid Bharati, All India Radio. So what do? You're in a village. The transmission is not so good. So what you do is you pull the antenna, right? And when you pull the antenna, it is able to better receive the signals, the radio signals. So like that, the ST is supposed to be the pivot of the universe. The universe is supposed to revolve around the ST. Okay, and the gods are supposed to descend down from the ST. So imagine there's a pole from top, from heaven to earth. So the gods slide down the ST. Did you understand? They slide down the pole and make themselves accessible to humanity. This is what the Buddhists believe, not me. Did you understand? Right? So Harmika marks it off as a sacred place. When you're walking towards the stupa, Brajneet, so what happens is you see the Harmika. So you know that this is a sacred place. It marks off it as a sacred place. And in between the Harmika, you have a stick, which is called a Yasti. And the gods are supposed to descend down from the heaven to the earth to make themselves accessible to humanity. So what do they do? What do the gods do? they will slide down by holding the yasti down. That's what the Buddhists believe, right? And then this yasti or a stick has three umbrellas. It has three umbrellas. So this signifies the three ratnas of Buddhism. Buddham Sharanam Gacchami, Dhammam Sharanam Gacchami, Sangam Sharanam Gacchami. The three umbrellas refer to the three ratnas of Buddhism. Did you understand? So this is what the significance is. Then these are the core areas. These are the important parts of a stupa: the anda, the harmika, and the yasti, which has the chatras. Then we have you can see here. Just hold on. I'll show you the picture. So you see this picture here of this stupa. You see this picture here in front of you, Sanchi stupa. You look at the compound wall down on the ground level. This is called a Vedika. This is called a Vedika. And there's another Vedika here. Look at the design here. Three lines, three horizontal lines are there. Similarly, so 1, 2, 3. When you look here on top at the Medi level, terrace level, 1, 2, 3. So there are three lines at the Medi level and at the ground level. This is the Vedika, compound wall. So at the ground level, it marks it off as a sacred place. So when people enter the stupa, they have to enter through the Vedika, through the compound wall, through the gateway and the compound wall. So outside the compound wall is not sacred. Inside the compound wall is sacred. Similarly, you have a Vedika at the terrace level where you take a circumambulation so that nobody falls off while taking a pradakshina. Nobody falls off. So there's a gallery or a Vedika, compound wall has been put. Right? Then you have Toranas. You can see the Toranas. Okay, gateways. These are gateways. Three horizontal lines. So you enter the stupa through the gateway. So there are four gateways in the four corners, and you enter the stupa through this gateway. And we have beautiful sculptures on the walls of the Medhi level, on the walls of the compound Vedika, as well as Toranas. Okay, so these are the important parts of a stupa. Did you understand? So when the construction was going on, Satyam, when the construction was going on, and the anda was being constructed, they'll place the relics of the Buddha in that tabena, and then they'll cover that mound with bricks and mud, etc. So it becomes part of the anda. You cannot reach the tabena because it is buried deep inside the anda. So when the construction was going on, it was placed. Satyam. Okay. Did you get me that? Right. So these are the different parts of a stupa. So whatever has to be explained, I have explained here. The details are here. You can see the toranas. These are the toranas. So these are all the designs. And you just have to write this. UPSC has asked a question. You see here on your screen. Just hold on. I'll show you the picture. Look here on your screen. 2016, 150 words. Early Buddhist stupa art, while depicting folk motifs and narratives, successfully expound Buddhist ideals. So now let us take some supplementary points. Just take some supplementary points, and I will give you a note. I'll send you a note on stupas. So just take down. I'll send you an additional information on stupas. Just take down these additional points. So number one, stupa in Buddhism, stupa represents. This is apart from what is there in the PPTs. So in Buddhism, stupa represents number one, Mahaparinirvana or Parinirvana. Stupa represents the Parinirvana of the Buddha, right? Parinirvana. Stupa represents Parinirvana of the Buddha, that is death of the Buddha. Number two, it is an object of worship. It's an object of worship. Number three, it contains relics of the Buddha. Contains the relics of the Buddha, or it is a repository of relics. Contains relics of the Buddha, or it is a repository of relics. Then number four, it is considered to be the center of the universe. Axis mundi. Axis mundi. Center of the universe. Center of the universe. Elucidate is Hemalata. You draw a picture of draw a sketch of the stupa, mention the various parts, and start explaining each and every part. Anda, Harmika, Yasti with the Chatras, then the Toranas, then the Vedika, okay, then Pradakshina around the Anda. So that's how you are explaining, elucidating, right? And then you also mention these things, additional information. I mentioned the symbolic significance of Anda. What does it mean? What do the Buddhists consider? It's there in the it is there in the PPT. So you go through the PPT. My humble request to all of you is go to the PPT of the stupa. If you have any doubts, come and ask me tomorrow. You ask me in the class. Okay. Sham, not necessarily. Sham is asking, so the picture which is carved on the Torana is carved in the same period when stupas were built. It could have been even made later. For example, I told you when the Sanchi stupa was originally built of bricks by Ashoka, he built, I believe, a wooden compound wall. The Toranas were also probably made of wood. But then, as you know, wood decomposes over a period of time. So during the Sunga period, the Shanti Stupa was expanded to double its size, covered in stone, and the Vedikas were also made of stone. The Vedikas were also made of stone during the Sunga period. So it's not necessary. Center of the universe, Dikshit, center of the universe. The Axis Mundi, center of the universe. This is where the gods reside. It is considered to be the mountain home of the gods. You remember how is it in Hinduism, among Shaivism? Where does Shiva stay? Shiva stays at Mount Kailas. Kailas is supposed to be in the Himalayas. So he's sitting on a mountain. Your temples, the Nagara temples or the South Indian temples, they are built in the form of a shikara. That is what you call a spire. So again, this is the Hindu representation of the universe. So, okay, the spire or the shikara, that is a spire on top of the Garbhagriha. So here the Buddhists also believe that the stupa is the axis mundi, the center of the universe. Then we have carvings. We have engravings or carvings on the Vedika, that is the compound wall, and the Torana. Torana is the gateway. So Vedika is the compound wall, both at the ground level and the Medhi level, and the Torana is the gateway. So Torana is the gateway. So what are the various engravings or carvings you have? Take down elephant, then horses, elephants, horses, horse riders. Just hold on, let me finish this topic, Stupa. So we have another 2 minutes to go. I may take about 2-3 minutes extra. Just hold on. So elephants, horses, horse riders, then flowers like lotus, then lions, peacock, then mythical animals, then yakshas. Yakshas are tree spirits. Yaksha and Yakshini. That is the female counterpart of a yaksha. They are tree spirits. They're supposed to guard the wealth under the ground. Tree spirits, yakshas and yakshinis. Then scenes from Buddha's life, important events of Buddha's life. Jataka stories, that is the previous 550 births of the Buddha. Jatakas or Jataka stories, right? So all these are depicted on the Toranas as well as the Vedika, right? Yeah, Shungas. Dipesh is asking Shungas destroyed stupas. This is the accusation. Look here. According to Buddhist sources, Buddhist textbooks tell us that Pushyamitra Sunga destroyed all the 84,000 stupas built by Ashoka. Ashoka is supposed to have built how many stupas? 84,000 stupas. And all of them were destroyed by Pushyamitra Sunga, according to Buddhist sources, Buddhist textbooks. But archaeology doesn't support this, because from archaeology we come to know that during the time of Pushyamitra Sunga, stupas were built at Sanchi. He expanded the original stupa built by Ashoka. So the Sanchi stupa was rebuilt or expanded. Then the Bharut stupa, Bharut in Madhya Pradesh stupa, and so Sanchi stupa, Bharut stupa, and the stupa at Gaya in Bihar, they were all built during the Sunga period. So archaeology doesn't support the accusation made against Pushyamitra Sunga by the Buddhist sources, Buddhist literary sources. Because archaeology tells us that Sanchi, Bharut, Gaya stupas were built during the Sunga period. So if Pushyamitra Sunga was a persecutor of Buddhists, as Buddhist textbooks claim, why would he have allowed the construction or expansion of a stupa during his period? He wouldn't have allowed it. So this is only a false accusation made by the Buddhist sources. So this is about stupa. Are you there with me? Oh, important stupas, I will give it tomorrow. Important stupas, I will tell you tomorrow. Right? So you have a great day. We will complete stupa tomorrow. I'll give you the important stupas built during various periods, and then we'll go to other aspects of Mauryan art. I to discuss about popular art. Of course, viharas are there. We'll go to post-Maurya art. Gandhara, Mathura, Amaravati, then 3 schools of temple architecture during the Gupta period. All those things will be discussed tomorrow. So you have a great day. We'll meet tomorrow. Thank you. I hope you had a fruitful session. Thank you very much. I'm logging out. Any doubts, mail me.